Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. And it's now episode 428. In this episode, it's going to be a split between NFL and NBA topics. In the NFL, will the Eagles or the Lions make it out the NFC? We are going to pick between those two teams.
Who's awesome?
Will the Bills dethrone the Chiefs this year? Daniel Jones getting benched.
See you later.
And much more NFL topics in it for the NBA. Should the Sixers still build around Joel Embiid? Franz Wagner taking a leap? De'Aaron Fox and Franz Wagner winning player of the week? And much more. Fellas, how are we doing?
What's your favorite flavor, bro?
I don't really have one.
No.
Are those Starbursts?
Yeah.
Are those the tropical flavors?
It just was these. One of my coworkers had it in her bag, so I just grabbed like 6. Yeah, I didn't really look
It's
at
that
them.
time of year where candy goes down like water. I will say I haven't had a Starburst in years.
I haven't had Starburst in some time for sure. I don't really have a go-to flavor.
I love the pink ones.
Really? Okay.
Pink ones
I
are
like them all.
crazy.
That's why I don't really.
You guys got a favorite candy?
I used to Skittles.
Like
Fuck
the
Skittles.
regular classic
Red or
Skittles.
purple?
Sour Skittles are the best to
That
me.
immediately brings me to my father. First off, happy birthday, Pops. Hope you had a
Shout
great
out to
day.
Sir.
Happy
Papa
birthday, Big
Velez.
Velez.
He carries a bag of Skittles with him everywhere he
I
goes.
respect that.
That's like he has such an addiction to them
Skittles are so good.
that he holds them everywhere he goes.
It's like popping pills, but just
But
candy form.
Skittles, I respect that. My favorite candy, I gave up candy for a long time.
Used to be Sour Patch. They were too.
The classic Haribo gummy bears, elite.
Okay.
They are
Always
very
wanted one.
good. If I'm going my favorite candy though, it might be Bunch of Crunch. I love Bunch of Crunch, and you can only really get it at the movies
What's your
unless you're
favorite
going to like CVS. I mean, I'm basic. Ice cream.
Sugar cookies.
Interesting. Yo,
You
a
like them more
chocolate
than
chip cookie.
chip?
Huh?
You don't like them more than
Yeah.
chocolate
I
chip?
love sugar cookies. You know, I'm a big sugar guy.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, love sugar cookies.
Chocolate chip clears.
I actually like oatmeal raisins more than chocolate chip.
I would have oatmeal raisin over sugar cookie. I don't like
Yes,
sugar cookies.
but sugars are my favorite. It's weird. Sugar, I would have oatmeal over. They're better, but sugars are just my favorite.
If I'm going to go outside the box, crumb cake.
Okay.
Cupcake smacks.
Unbelievably
If I'm
good.
going old school, like hood, honey buns, frosted.
Honey buns also
If we
crazy.
count them as a dessert, you're cooking.
Oh dear.
Honey buns are. The thing is, you can have a honey bun very early in the day and kind of ruin your day.
All day, any day. Like it.
You
brother.
feel nasty as fuck after, but it's delicious.
Honey buns are
I'm not
so
a big
good.
fan of honey buns. They're dry.
Do you get the no? But you get the frosted one.
Yeah, you
get the
have
glaze,
You
to.
can't
bro.
get
You
the
gotta
regular one.
glaze
You
it.
got to get the frosted one. If you get the regular one, it's gonna be trash.
My favorite candy is Twix.
Oh, you're a chocolate
Beautiful.
guy.
Yeah, Twix are my favorite candy.
Caramel is slept on. You ever have a Rolo?
I'm not a big caramel guy.
No.
Yeah.
Rolo is literally
That's
straight
me.
chocolate with caramel in the middle.
Underrated fruit roll-ups.
I haven't had a fruit roll up in I don't know how long.
That's
It
definitely
probably
a candy.
goes.
Those are throwbacks.
That
I
is
think
definitely-
nerds are good.
Nerds?
Yeah.
Oh, I can respect a nerd.
Gushers used to hit.
Gushers
Damn.
facts.
Gushers
I
used
had
to
them.
hit.
It's just I get a lot stuck in my teeth.
That's
Nah,
what
that's the
recently.
fact. That's the worst part.
I don't know what's been happening recently. There's been like a gap that's opened up in the back of my teeth, in the back of my mouth.
Cavity, man?
Oh shit.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Don't know what happened to me, brother. I had a fucking virus in my tooth.
It doesn't hurt or nothing.
Riff had a car payment in his mouth.
But now
was
after
bad.
every meal, I'm just flossing because it's just food is getting stuck there.
I
So
might have a cavity or
I just
something.
been flossing. Yeah, I definitely gotta go to the dentist.
I gotta go to the dentist.
I had
too.
a virus in my tooth. The shit was giving me a
A virus in
headache
your
all
tooth.
day.
Yeah, I remember that, bro.
Brother.
That was a bad fucking
I
month
had to
you
take
had.
like 30 pain pills just to go through a day. Yeah, be careful, bro.
30 pain pills is cap.
Bro, I was taking like 6 in the morning, and then when them shits run out by like 4. No, I'm
Six
telling
is,
you.
like, I'm be honest with you. I'm praying for
like
your liver.
what, Advil or some shit?
Yeah, bro.
Oh,
like,
okay, this is making a little bit more sense.
Yeah,
you
I'm
can
not.
get to
I
like
don't
a
think he's
band.
taking like
No,
Oxy
be
or some
honest,
shit.
no. It was like but it was
You
so.
put it past him?
It was like I used to have to wake up at 3 in the morning. Like I'll wake up, and my head is pounding. Like fuck, I need like 6 of these shits.
Yeah.
Man. It's bad.
Now, before we get started in the show, just quick word from PrizePicks. PrizePicks sponsors the Pick a Side podcast. Little tongue twister right there. Almost got me again. But PrizePicks has a lot of good stuff on the app right now. They have now NHL picks if you guys are interested in that. And also Thanksgiving is coming up, and they have a lot of awesome promos that you can use for this Thanksgiving week. This podcast is going to be out after the Warriors and Hawks game, but right now they have a Steph Curry promo going on. What we're going to do right now is that we're going to give our picks for Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football, Prize Pick plays Browns versus the Steelers. Mine is very simple. Jameis Winston to throw an interception. Against the Steelers defense, we know Jameis Winston is turnover prone. I think he throws an interception to that defense.
I think I'm going with more or less, because you got to keep it real simple. 216.5. I'm going to go less. Probably the first time in Prize Pick histories that I went less.
Who's this?
Jameis Winston passing yards. I'm going under. Listen, Dehls gave me the rundown. Might snow. 23 wins. It's going to be nasty. They play in the Pittsburgh defense. They don't really have too much wide receiver depth or talent out there. Pittsburgh defense is elite. It just smells like a Jameis Winston stinker.
Now, it hurts me because streets love Nick Chubb. But since he's come back from injury, really hasn't been the same vibe. And also last week, it was kind of the script for him to play well against the Saints. Saints just went out there and scored an insane amount of points. He was pretty effective, though. 11 carries, 50 yards, if I'm not mistaken. And his opportunity, he was successful. However, the game script got away from him. In this game, we've yet to see him crack more than 52.5. So I'm going less than 52.5 with Nick Chubb. It'd be just one of those where I know that the forecast is calling for it to snow. It's going to be ugly, ton of winds. That usually leads to a lot of run games. I think that with that game plan, we understand that the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is one of the best in the league. But now, if I'm not mistaken, one of us is forced to go on the Steelers side because you have to have a play on the Steelers side.
And I got it. I had a backup.
Do you have one? I have a backup as well. I could go that route.
Is it the same? Maybe it might be the same because mine was
Jaylen Warren?
It was not Jaylen Warren.
Okay.
I went with the other running back
Najee.
in Pittsburgh. Najee Harris,
Okay.
17.5 rush attempts.
You're cooking.
Since Russell Wilson has been the starter, he's had more than 18 rush attempts in every single game. The forecast already describes it as a real run-heavy game
Perfectly
plan.
said.
So I'm going with Najee Harris.
That's easy money.
And then Riv got Jameis, and then you got Nick Chubb.
Less than
or
52.
Jaylen Warren. That's another possibility.
He will stink it up for sure.
Nick Chubb.
No, Jameis Winston. Unfortunately, my brother ain't healthy yet fully, but he'll get back
Yo,
to it.
Jameis Winston's been letting that thing go.
That's what he does.
That is what he does.
Yeah, respect to him.
Who's going to win this game? Do we all have the Steelers in this game?
I do have
have
the
the
Steelers.
This is definitely a sweeper.
I'm not even thinking twice about
They're
it.
in Pittsburgh too, I believe. Oh, no, they're in Cleveland.
Cleveland, yeah.
I
A little
can.
trappy.
It's crazy
Short
how it
week,
might,
shitty weather.
It might snow over there, and it's still fake hot over here. It's actually mind-boggling.
You could say that it's trappy, but we've seen the Steelers go in games like these where it's kind of, oh, you never know, and
See
then
them
they
lose to
just end
Colts.
up and coming and win.
It's
That's
just,
true.
You know,
They beat
just when
Baltimore.
they beat Baltimore. It's like, oh shit, here they come, and then it's
Remember, you
Well,
Cleveland.
they
no
beat
chance.
Washington and they beat Washington and Baltimore.
I didn't hear what you said.
Doesn't matter.
I believe you said there's no chance
What?
that Baltimore loses.
I said there's no chance they win a playoff game.
No, I think right before we picked, you was like, no shot.
I wouldn't put it past me, but I thought, yeah.
You know, that game was insane. That game was a lot of miscues from the Ravens that they
It's the
had.
Steelers voodoo, man.
Yeah, but also
it's real.
the Steelers, you know, you got to give them credit for making those plays.
Making 6 field goals.
It's
Chris
just-
Boswell's a legend.
I mean, listen, number one, I feel like that game just showed to me that it don't matter how great Lamar Jackson is playing in the regular season. In those important games,
Oh, shit.
Here we go.
you just don't trust him like
He's
that.
back.
Oh, he's back.
You don't trust him like that.
He's back.
He's back.
It's as simple as that.
Look at this growth.
That
you
was
can't-
crazy, Drew.
Nobody can tell me they actually trust Lamar Jackson in the playoffs.
I trust
Nobody
Lamar
can tell
Jackson
me
in the
that.
playoffs. I'm somebody.
What has he shown you that you could be
Game
like,
against
yeah.
the Texans, he was elite.
Oh my God! First round that he played in, not
Divisional.
moved.
And it's not me saying Lamar's not great, not this, not that. But no,
Facts.
listen, he just got to perform in the playoffs. It's simple as that.
If you're not a playoff
Listen, 3-time
performer, though.
MVP potential. You're an all-time great. In the playoffs, we need you. I'm rooting for you like my life depends on it.
See David Robinson? Is that where you're getting at with this?
It's similar. I mean, Peyton Manning had a similar
All-time regular
trajectory.
season player,
David
dropper in
Robinson,
the playoffs.
James Harden. I mean, you have
See
Jordan
James
B.
Harden. That
comps.
seems a bit more.
You got a couple comps. Like, you got a couple comps with Lamar Jackson. But I do think that if the Ravens lose this time around, it's going to be more so because of the defense.
Facts.
I feel like the defense is a weak point for them. I've been having this in my mind all day long. And we were on the topic of candies earlier, and this segues perfectly into food. What do you think are the top 5 cuisines?
Cuisines.
All right, got it. Asian, Italian.
In this
Are
order?
you separating Asians into their own category or just putting it as one? Because you have Chinese, you have Japanese, you have Korean.
I'll be honest, all of them are amazing. There's not one I dislike.
Because Japanese has sushi,
They're all a
Chinese,
little
of
different.
course. You know, Chinese golden, and then Korean, you got
But I
Korean
agree
fried
with him.
chicken,
No
Korean
doubt.
barbecue.
Oh my
That's
God, Korean
why.
barbecue.
That's why I put them in a tier of their own. I'm going 1. Italians 2. I'll put Spanish 3. honestly, those are the only 3 that really matter to me that much. If you want to go 4 and 5, this is where I'm open to
Where's the
opening
culture?
floor.
Where this guy throw a little something in there? You
I
know?
said Korean, Italian, and Spanish.
I feel like we got to make this a little bit.
What do you mean more
difficult.
culture? What more do you want from
No,
me?
I
You know what
like
he's
your
talking
picks.
about.
I like your picks.
Oh, okay. I guess.
Oh, soul food.
Yeah, I guess I should have said soul
He's not
food.
saying
Oh,
that
I
was-
like soul food.
Yeah.
I like soul food. Yeah, I'm saying
Soul food's amazing.
Yeah, it should be top 5.
Yeah,
top
it
4.
should. I'm fine with that.
I would probably take it over Spanish. Me personally. For
I don't
obvious
hate that
reasons.
actually.
Yeah, I would take it over Spanish.
Spanish food I could eat every single day because it's rice, it's beans,
Yep.
and it's some type of meat, whatever type of meat you want.
Soul food, I can't eat every day. It's too much.
It gives me a stomach
I
Heavy.
ache.
feel like
Yeah.
putting Spanish into its own thing is cheating because there are definitely some Spanish cuisines I like more than others. I think number 1 is probably Mexican. I think Mexican is probably at the top of Spanish cuisine.
You like more like Colombian food?
I'm not a big fan of Colombian food, believe it or not. I don't think
I
it
just
has
finished
like.
getting some Colombian
Yeah,
food.
I think Colombian food is fine. Like it's all right, but I think Peruvian food is better.
Peruvian
Have you
food
guys
is
ever
nice.
had chaufa?
Yeah,
I
or
like
yeah, yeah.
chaufa.
Oh, that's like one of the best foods ever. Oh my god,
It is.
So Peruvian food, Mexican food. Then you got Dominican, Colombian. You got the Ecuadorian, Puerto Rican. You got some different branches of just Spanish food.
I go with things I've ate the most. Definitely Asian. No doubt in my mind.
God.
Peruvian.
Where's McDonald's fit in for you?
So that
American?
counts as American cuisine.
What's the king of Asian food?
Shit.
Is it Japanese, Chinese, or Korean barbecue food, or
Japanese.
Filipino?
It's Japanese.
More than Chinese?
Yeah,
Japanese.
it's Japanese.
Just because sushi?
Well,
Because Chinese food is
not-
fucking.
well, you
There's a
have
Chinese
ra-
food
well,
in
you
every
have
single corner.
more
where I'm
ramen.
at.
Yeah, but I've
Also,
been to a real
ramen stuff.
Japanese.
Yeah.
I've been to a real Japanese restaurant. Oh god, it's one of them ones.
nah,
I'm not a big sushi guy or fish guy, so it doesn't. You know what I mean? It doesn't hit me.
but,
I guess
okay,
American
you ever have
cuisine is in there
ramen?
for me.
I like, yeah,
Like-
ramen's cool.
Chicken shrimp teriyaki, like Menya Sangame. You ever been there in the H Mart? That's one of them ones. That's one of them
I
ones.
love Korean food though. Korean barbecue goes so
For
crazy.
sure.
If
Yeah,
I had to
H-Mart
pick
be
any of
having
the
them
Asians,
things.
yeah.
Korean, I can hear over Japanese.
Get
for
mad
sure.
meat there,
So
too.
much meat.
Have you guys ever had chicken katsu?
No.
It sounds familiar.
It's Korean. It's a Korean dish. It's a famous one. It's basically breaded chicken. There's a place in Little Ferry. It's called Bunsikinara Plus. They basically give you that platter. It's big as hell. It's like $15. You get the chicken cutlet. It's like sliced up, breaded chicken cutlet. You get like macaroni salad. You get corn on the side. There's this sauce it comes with as well, with like rice on the side as well. It's like a big ass plate. And they're like Korean food. They're known for that. They're also known for bulgogi, which is a type of beef.
Yeah, I've had
Bulgogi.
bulgogi. Yeah.
Bulgogi. That's how. You, okay, sorry. That's how you pronounce it. Bulgogi. It's really good.
One of them ones.
Yeah.
Bro, have you had banchan?
Yeah, of course.
I haven't had it.
I had,
I'm
I had it
selling.
one time.
I heard
Really?
banchan gives you a stomachache though.
You got to go
I've
to
been
Peck
fine.
Peck.
He
haven't had
has
Peck
told
Peck.
me about
Where's
Peck
that?
Peck.
It's in a Teaneck, and Peck Peck basically is
It's
a,
better than banchan?
yeah. It's like
Really?
it's like a homemade pop
Oh, okay,
shop
okay.
kind of banchan.
Where's it at?
I gotta try
It's in
Teaneck.
Teaneck.
Okay.
They actually have like football players on the wall because people that are famous have been there. Leonard Williams, he's on the Seahawks now, used to play for the Giants. He
And the
used to
Jets.
go there, and the Jets. He used to go there every single week and eat there.
Really?
And the,
I gotta
the
try
owner,
it.
the
I
owner of the
fucking
shop
love banchan, bro.
has like his picture there, like
Have you
take a
guys
picture
been to
with him.
Lotus Cafe?
Of course.
Yes.
God.
It's bread. Costs a lot, but
Had
damn
it,
it, is it good.
Had it the other day.
Yeah,
What'd you get?
we were on playback.
Got chicken and broccoli, calm shit, white rice, got a little egg roll. But my God, they give
lot of
you
food.
so much. I ain't even finish it. I'm a little guy, so like,
You are petite. You put down some food though.
I sometimes,
I don't know if you're a little guy anymore, bro.
I am getting a little thick.
What are you up to?
Eating.
No, I was saying like 190 type shit.
I am 183.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not one, I don't think I can ever get to 190.
No, 183 to 190 is down, down the range of outcomes.
I've been in the 180s for like about 4 or 5 months.
I just got out
where
of
were
the
you before?
200 for the first time in a couple of years.
4. I was like 150, 160.
That's-
So if you put up
insane.
20 pounds, you put another 7?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you can.
I don't think so.
If you want to.
I wouldn't even let myself. Honestly, that's more like I wouldn't let myself.
You like your petite body.
I do actually. I genuinely like being little. It feels great.
You know what kills me? That picture that we put up when you found out Jordan Poole got traded and you got Chris Paul. People were calling you fat for that picture. Of you
Insane.
in the
It was just a
that
bad
was
angle.
so
It was
wicked.
tough
It
angle,
was a
yeah.
bad angle. Nah, brother, feel me? I'm a little.
I feel like in the cuisine talk, we got to talk about halal and Mediterranean.
It hits.
I'm
It's
not
good.
the biggest fan.
Me
Like I
either.
like it.
9
but
out
I'm
of
not the
10
biggest
times,
fan.
I'm taking explosive diarrhea after.
That white
This guy
sauce
shits
definitely
every
gives
time.
you.
Yeah,
be
I feel
transparent.
like that's a lot of cuisines though.
You're cooking. But that one specifically, that hot sauce. If you don't have the hot sauce,
You
you're
have to
wasting your
have it,
time.
yeah, it's
You're
a
wasting your
fact.
time. You need it.
White sauce too. You gotta have both.
We went. What we ate, Drew. We went to this burger spot over by
Oh, burgers are good too.
Texas Roadhouse. Drew put me onto this burger.
Habit?
spot.
Habit.
Yes, first
Habit
time I had.
smacks.
Yeah, shit was OD.
It's so good.
I had this shit
I guess
so bad.
American does it counts.
It does.
Like burgers, hot dogs.
Shit, cool. It's cool. It
Yeah.
ain't like elite tier, like, but it's cool. Like it's always around. So
It is always around. A great burger though is up there with a lot of foods.
no, a real burger with like some cheese. I like that bacon in my
There's a
burger.
place on Main Street called Marty's.
I've been wanting to go. Alvaro just went the other day. He told me it smacks.
Yeah, they have a sesame seed bun, and like, bro, it's like filled with sesames, bro. Like the entire bun. You can't see a spot that doesn't have sesames on it. And no, it's really good. They got some sauce there. It's brand new. I think they just opened it on Hackensack.
Yeah, I
but they
just
had
saw
like
them
a
on
different
Instagram. I
branch.
was like, I need to go try this. I don't want to forget.
Yo, Drew, not Drew. Dehls, how do you feel about them calling Lamar a playoff choker?
I mean, they're not wrong. Right now, he's choked.
I didn't expect that from you.
I mean, I'm
can't do
not.
it.
Do I enjoy talking shit about Lamar? No.
I don't know. That little dap right there was straight crazy.
Definitely was like you was
Dap-
excited to dap him.
Yeah,
No, because I've been
you were
called,
looking forward to it.
No, because I've been called a hater and like, oh my god, you don't like Lamar
you
for
smiled
just
about
being
it.
honest. No, but it's cool that another person also is not afraid
He's the
to
Lamar
talk about.
throwback hater.
Yeah,
I think
but
this
come
is
on,
the
Lamar.
truth.
No arm, Lamar. This dude's got fucking slogans for him.
The come on, Lamar shit. Hilarious. It is funny.
Did that shit against the Steelers.
He did that shit against the Chiefs.
Honestly, that shit was not his fault against the Steelers.
One
Not
pass,
his
maybe like Zay Flowers dropped it for the entire
Fucking
game.
Justice Hill
Lamar
catch
was
the
not on
damn
point.
ball. It was an interception.
It was a little bit underthrown.
You got to catch that. I don't give a fuck.
Yo, Justin
Bro had
Tucker.
one arm in there.
Justin Tucker may not be washed.
Why?
The holder sucks,
Is that the issue?
dude. Apparently, we need a new holder.
Because he's been asked from 50 plus last
been
year
asked in
too.
general.
This year, no, he's been bad. But I'm saying 50 plus, he wasn't good last year either.
I'm holding on that he may not be washed, and hopefully they figure out the
I
hold.
hope
But right
so,
now
bro.
he's on
'cause,
allegations.
I mean,
What if,
fucking.
what if he has a playoff wake up moment? Just start torching
I hope
shit
so.
up?
I mean,
Awesome.
listen, Tucker's a legend. He's one of the best kickers ever.
he's the best kicker ever. Brandon
Hopefully.
Aubrey already your stamping goat.
Shit, right, bro. He hit 64.
64 is
easy,
crazy, like it was
fucking
nothing.
easy
He
on
also
Monday.
missed a kick too.
He missed a 40-yard
Did he?
first field
Oh,
goal
I didn't
he's
even see
missed
that.
Jake
in
Ellie
AT&T.
was last weekend trolling too.
No, he was.
Kickers
All
not
the
some
kickers been
bullshit.
asked this year.
If your name's not fucking Fairbairn,
Yep.
Chris Boswell,
Yep.
Aubrey, like there's like 5 elite kickers. and
Jake
that's it.
Bates, I'll give him his flowers
Bates is
from
solid,
Detroit.
yeah.
He's been good. That's really been it. They've all been really bad. Oh, Will Lutz, hate him. I don't care what anyone says.
Now I'm looking forward to this first topic of the show: Eagles versus Lions. I feel like we haven't had a type of pick a side moment in a while.
I
on
really
the show.
hate this for me.
And
Both teams better than your Packers. Who would have thought?
Oh my.
well, right now the Packers ain't finding
championship
a
pick.
rhythm.
Big week,
It's
big
still-
game this week for the Packers.
I'm still riding with the
Huge,
Packers. I mean,
huge game.
listen, they're my
Stand
Super
on
Bowl
that.
pick.
I know.
That's it,
I want
you
you,
know?
as long as I'm glad
Yeah.
you said it again.
Yeah.
Yes,
Listen,
they
if the
won't
pass
They're
make
rush-
still winning the Super Bowl?
If the pass rush doesn't
They
get
won't make
fixed
it
by
to
the
the NFC
playoffs, then I'm
championship
having
game.
some serious concerns, and I might change my bracket.
He
depending on how it
loves to
goes.
like just
12?
prolong this.
But right now, I mean, the real problem is the defense. That's the biggest problem.
Tell you what, I'm happy that you're wearing a Jordan Love shirt because you and I were just talking about it. When was the last time he brought up Jordan Love? Like, it's been a long time.
He's playing really well. He's playing
It
awesome.
reminds me of another quarterback in his draft class that's been playing really well, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, I just got a thing for number 10s. Justin Herbert, Jordan Love. I like number 10.
So what-
Justin Herbert
I like
love
number
is
9s.
Crazy.
No, listen, I love Justin Herbert.
So he likes the number
Who
one
doesn't?
quarterback in the league.
Number
Who hates
two,
He
Justin
likes
Herbert?
arguably number 2.
He doesn't like the
He
one
likes
guy.
arguably
who
number
is
4,
the
number
darkest
5.
out the 5. If you didn't notice,
He actually hates him the most.
He does.
He
And
says
yeah-
how much he loves Josh Allen in
But he
division.
loves, he likes Trevor Lawrence. You know, he likes Jordan Love. Jordan Love is a little bit my color, so I guess that's cool. Doesn't like Jalen
yeah.
Hurts.
You're not
Hurts.
mentioning Geno Smith? He's darker than Jalen Hurts.
That's the guy.
He might be
saving
the
you.
darkest quarterback in the league.
He's saving your color card.
Oh,
right
you
now.
saw his game-winning drive. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was
Oh,
nice.
yeah, he ripped the 49ers' hearts. Geno Smith. And our offensive line, Abraham Lucas came in. Oh, it looked good.
You're back?
It looked really good. Yeah, I think the Seahawks can go on a run right here. They
Yo,
can.
JSN, he's here.
Yeah, nice.
He's
Back-to-back
here.
really good games.
I think they could go on a run now, but I just got to think for number 10s. Chargers fans have been begging me to
There is
Join their
another
families.
number 10 that you haven't been as kind to.
Mac Jones.
Oh,
Is he
yeah,
number
who?
10 still?
Bo Nix?
I don't know if I think is he 12? He might be 10. I don't know. I really don't.
I got to think for him. Bo Nix, I said before the draft, he could be a star. And then,
You have every opinion on Bo Nix under the sun.
and then Bo Nix, I said, you know what? It's too much number 10s here. I got to maybe kick one out. So
You know, because I'm a fan of good content, so I watch the weekly blitz. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to hold on to that. Let's talk about the topic at hand. Eagles versus Lions. I'll start us off for the reason that this is the hardest question I've been asked all football season because I love Detroit, but I really do love the Eagles too. These are easily the two best teams in the NFC to me. But when it comes to deciding between the two, what attracts me more? Arguably the best offense in the league in Detroit, or arguably the best defense in football in Philadelphia. Where I've come to the conclusion is I side with Philadelphia, with the fact that they have arguably the best defense in the league, but it's complemented by one of the best offenses in the league as well. And I know that this past offense has kind of gone through its ups and downs, but since the bye week, Jalen Hurts has had a passer rating of over 100 in every single one of those games except this past week. But I look at this offense as a whole. Their rushing attack is one of the best in the league, arguably the best in the league. When A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith are on the field, they have one of the best passing attacks in the game as well. You also can't forget that Saquon is still one of the better pass-catching running backs in the game. But you have one of the best rush defenses, one of the best pass defenses. I look at the Detroit Lions. The issue there is Jared Goff has been really great this season. The offense has the numbers. I believe they have the most wins by 35. They have 3 wins by 35 points or more. No other team has one, if I'm not mistaken.
Giants, Jaguars, Cowboys.
Those are the 3 that they've had, yes. They've been otherworldly offensively. When it comes to defense, their rushing defense has been one of the best in the league. But I still have my reservations about that pass defense. Terrion Arnold, he still fouls way too much. He gets a ton of flags. The secondary, when you have Kirby, when you have Brian Branch, those two have been the stars of the secondary. But I still have my reservations in that regard because that number 2 corner has been inconsistent. There's a weakness in their defense. There's not a weakness in Philadelphia right now on the defensive side. The question that people are going to force down your throat if you really are trying to pick one for the Philadelphia Eagles is Jalen Hurts going to be good enough in the big moment? And if that's going to be your question, then you have to keep that same energy with Jared Goff. Because in a 5-interception game, although the Houston Texans, we know that we all have them. Well, not you, because of course you love your Houston Texans. You love C.J. Stroud. But even you'll admit they've gone through a bit of a slump this season. And C.J. Stroud has gone through a bit of a slump this season. Things out of his control. The offensive line's not great. But Goff threw 5 INTs. And they found a way to win that game. And I get that can kind of be an argument to be used in their favor. But that is a question on Jared Goff. Can he be good enough in those big moments to win a game? Because if you go and you have 5 INTs against the Philadelphia Eagles, I promise you, you are not winning that game. So for that reason, I trust the more complete Philadelphia Eagles. But man, that is by far and away the toughest question I've been asked this year.
Now let me ask you guys. Are you going with the Eagles?
Yeah.
Are you going with the Eagles, Dehls?
It's close.
Who you
It's
going
close
with?
as fuck.
It's close.
I just need to know who you're going with. Because if you pick the Eagles, it's a clean sweep. I'm going with the Eagles too.
Okay. I think
if you pick Detroit, you can never, ever come back, bro.
I'll say this.
No, it's fair to pick Detroit in this situation. He's not picking a mid team.
No, he's not.
But there's
Brother.
just been too much.
You're
where
right.
He's been
No,
under
you're right.
100%.
I'm not going to disagree with him.
Dehls, put your analyst hat on. Who's better?
That's what I'm doing.
He did that for the Bengals?
Oh my!
I didn't pick the Bengals in that game.
I don't want to hear that,
So he always said-
Joel.
I know you're sick about that.
I want to hear Dell's answer.
To me, this is how it's been all season long. If Jared Goff and the Lions have to go to Philadelphia in January, I am taking the Eagles 10 times out of 10. I hate that situation for them. I know Jared Goff was talking crazy after the win in Chicago, saying, outside, or was it the Green Bay game? Yeah, my apologies. The Green Bay game, saying, this dome team going outside. And Detroit's got some, even though they're a dome team, they got a dog physicality, right? They got the best running back duo. They got a defense. The Eagles' defense is elite. It is arguably the best in the game right now. Detroit's defense is still fucking elite.
It is really
Since
good.
Aiden Hutchinson went down in week 7 or week 6, they are still top 5 in EPA per play. They are still top 5 in success rate. They played the Packers. They played the Vikings. They played the Texans. Some good offenses, some good quarterbacks, some good play callers. It's not like they're going out there and playing Tennessee every single week. I think if you look at the Eagles schedule and you look at the Lions schedule, it's a pretty comparable makeup of good teams and bad teams to stat pad sometimes, but also have some elite performances. Detroit's offense, I think, is better than Philly's. I think it's pretty easy to me, too. The one thing about the Eagles offense that's changed the most since the bye, they have cut down passing a ton. They are dead last when it comes to pass rate over expectation. They're below everybody in the league. The Bengals are number 1 by far. Philly is dead last, 32 by far. They're giving the ball to Saquon Barkley as they should. And since they've been able to rely on their defense, they haven't had to have as many explosive plays from this passing offense and haven't had to put as many or as much responsibility on Jalen Hurts' shoulders. I still think he could do it. I still think this offense over time has, with Kellen Moore there, given Jalen Hurts some more options, just more trust in this offense overall. But I'm going to side with Jalen Hurts. At the end of the day, if I got to decide,
I didn't know
I'm deciding
either.
with Jalen Hurts, especially if it's in Philadelphia. But this is close. I don't think this should be one way or the other just because Philly's defense has been playing so damn good. I think part of it is because you got this young corner in Quinyon Mitchell. You got this young DB who DeJean could play in a couple different spots. They've both been playing really well. You got, of course, Jalen Carter. So I feel like they have a lot of bigger names. And, of course, maybe just a bigger brand being in Philadelphia. But Detroit's defense has been kind of just as good. It just hasn't been talked about as much, but it's just been just as good. And I trust their offense more to be consistent week in and week out. That rush offense is fucking insane. And the way they're able to go play action off of that, Jameson Williams, of course, hitting downfield shots. Amon-Ra, Laporta hasn't been as involved, but he could still be used as a weapon. That offense is scary. And how good Philly's defense has been, I give them all the credit in the world. I don't think you're stopping that offense. No matter how good you are, I don't think you're stopping that offense. That's how elite it has
Cincinnati.
been.
This is the thing with that. I think the Lions' offense can be stopped. And
Houston stopped them.
And I will say this.
Still put up 26.
Between the Lions and Eagles, I'll
With
give the
5
Lions
picks.
respect because they deserve it. I think right now they are the best team in the NFL. They're the best record in the NFL. They have the best point differential. You have to give them that respect. The Lions are 6-0 against teams that are 500 or better. The Eagles are 2-1. So the Lions have faced a lot of tough competition, and they have passed. They beat the Vikings. They beat the Packers. They beat the Rams. And there's a plethora of other teams I'm probably missing out. They beat the Texans. So
I'm hearing a couple teams there that might be
Frozen.
frauds.
Well, I'm just saying that.
I think you should say the same thing about the Eagles schedule.
I'm just saying that the Lions
Can you
have
say
faced
that?
better competition. That's just objectively a fact to this point. They have faced better competition.
The one not fraud is the Packers, but keep going.
What I don't agree with, people just thinking the Lions are by far and away the best team in the NFL and nobody in the NFC can touch them. Right now, as it stands, do I think the Lions are the best team in the NFC? Yes. Do I think if the Eagles match up with them, that the Eagles would get the upper hand? I do think so. And sometimes things have to be very simplified. You just got to dumb things down to a very simple level and just measure both of these teams. In front of me, I have 13 total categories, Eagles versus Lions. Quarterback, who's better?
Hurts.
Eagles. Running back, who's better?
Running back room, Detroit. But
I would say Detroit.
better running backs is Saquon.
That duo's crazy. I'm saying
it
Detroit.
is. I also find myself going Detroit.
I'll write down the Lions because you guys, it's 2v1. And also I think it's fair. They have 2 great running backs. Eagles have 1 great running back. Wide receivers.
It's easily us.
Yeah, Philly.
Are we counting tight ends into this?
That would be the next category.
It's close.
I would just say pass catchers in general. But
The thing is, I know Smitty is better than Jameson. He's better than him.
It's not close.
The production that Jameson has put up when he's been on the field.
Jameson's nice. He gets a lot of big plays. And if he doesn't get that big play, it's
AJ's better than Amon-Ra, though.
And yeah, I don't think it's that close.
Oh my God. I mean, Amon-Ra every single week is doing something impactful.
Hey, we
So wide
undefeated when
receivers.
AJ Brown plays.
Wide receivers, Philly.
Wide receivers, we're going with the Eagles.
I'll go. I defer to y'all.
Tight ends.
It's close.
Are we going with
It's a
Laporte?
toss-up.
Or are we
I'm
going with
honestly
Dallas
going to go
Goedert?
push.
It's a
Let's go
toss-up.
push
Yeah.
here.
Dallas has been good this year.
But I was going to say, because Laporte's been down, you can give the respect
Dallas
to
has
Dallas.
always been steady, though. He's been
Okay.
a really good tight end. So I'll say push.
Let's go with the Eagles. I categorize
Wait, Eagles, you're taking Goddard?
tight end.
That's why I said
Goddard.
push.
Yes. I'm taking the Eagles with
Push,
tight end.
push Eagles. I guess it's Eagles.
Yeah. I think because right now Laporta just has not been the same. The Lions are scoring 40 points every other game. He's not doing anything.
It's facts.
But if you measure his ring
But
production,
that goes to his Smitty point.
Thank you.
And it's not because Smitty's not getting open, he just doesn't get the ball, but we're still
That's
beating
kind of
teams.
exactly what I mean.
I know, but also Philly isn't throwing nearly as much as
Yeah, for
Detroit
sure,
is.
for sure.
It's just
But
not
that's
getting
what he's saying
opportunities.
with, it's kind of the same, not
That's
the same, but I
exactly
get what he's
what I
saying.
mean.
But
And now-
Detroit's throwing the ball and they're scoring
But Jameson is insane after the catch.
But I do think that Dallas Goedert has years of production.
He does.
Laporta just had one rookie season.
It
and then
was
but then he
best.
dropped off. Then he's not the same.
10 touchdowns.
I do wonder, are they using him as a blocker? That's on me. Maybe I need to go back and see, why is it that his
just
usage
not
is
used
so
to it.
much down?
I just think that Dallas Goedert deserves that respect
for
right
sure.
now.
He's a
cool
great
with that.
tight
I'm
end.
cool with
Yeah,
that.
that's fair.
Offensive line,
I think it's push.
I gave it a tie because according to PFF, the Eagles have a better pass blocking grade. The Lions have a better run blocking grade.
I'm cool with the
But
push.
both
These
of those
are
offensive
top 10 in
lines
the
are
league.
elite. It's a tie. It's
Yeah,
whatever.
I think we have the best offensive linemen though.
Push here, not push tight end.
Lane.
Lane.
Yeah.
Sewell's up there too.
I think Lane
Those
is,
are probably
Sewell
the two.
is
no, I think he's
insane.
elite. I think Lane
league.
is the best tackle in the league though.
I was talking to Sean about this. I'm just like, yo, if Sewell decides to stay with the Lions, we're talking about an all-time great
Hall of
line. Like
Famer.
he'll get his number
Yeah,
retired.
for sure.
type.
I mean, Lane will say as well.
Defensive line.
I think it's us.
I think
because
it is the
Aiden's not
Eagles.
playing.
Correct.
It would be a lot
Yeah.
closer if Aiden was playing.
If Aiden was playing, I think it'd probably go to the Lions. You know,
I'm
he's
fine with
that
that.
Tuff's out a few weeks. I saw
defense
he had
player of the year
surgery or
candidate.
some shit.
But
we got
yes,
some dudes on there, man.
it is the Eagles' defensive line right now. Linebackers.
Right now,
I think it might be us.
it might be the Eagles.
And it's a clearing.
Yeah.
No, it's not even close. Like
Yeah,
Zach
they've
Bond
been
and Kobe
amazing.
Dean. Yes. Corners.
That is easy, Eagles.
Quinyon,
And now safeties, we go with the Lions
going
with
with the
Kirby
Lions.
Joseph,
Branch.
Brian
Jesus.
Branch.
Shout out to Reed though. Always makes
He's
a
been
big
holding
play
it
when
down.
he needs
And then
to.
I have more categories.
Have you kept count? Where are we right now?
Yeah, I have kept count. We're
thank
at
God.
10. There's 3 more categories.
No, apologies. I'm saying in favor of the Eagles and in favor.
Oh,
of the
we're
Lions.
okay. Right now, quarterback Eagles, wide receiver Eagles, tight end Eagles, defensive line Eagles, linebackers Eagles, corners Eagles.
So
That's
6 to 4.
6.
Okay.
Head coach
Clearing.
is
Dan
Lions.
Campbell by a lot.
Offense coordinator.
You could just go. Let's just group coaching.
No, because I think our
Because Vic
defensive
is better.
Defensive
Yeah.
coordinator.
But
yes.
Aaron Glenn's amazing.
Glenn's
I don't
But
think
he's
I don't
not
think
Vic
Vic
Fangio.
I think Vic Fangio is
You were
better.
disrespecting Vic Fangio last year.
No, I wasn't. I just said it takes time to adjust to his system. That's what I said
One
exactly.
year into Philly, they figured it out.
Yeah, because I was unsure about the talent. It was a bunch of rookies and Zach Bond who converted from edge rusher to linebacker.
I think you called us frauds after like week 4.
The defense, Vic Fangio, it takes time for that
agree.
defense to gel together. That's why at Miami, they never gelled together in that 1 year. You drafted a rookie corner in Quinyon and Cooper DeJean. You had no idea what they were going to be. They ended up being studs. And Zach Bond converted from being an edge rusher in year 5 or 6. And he's an all-pro linebacker. Nobody could
Kobe
see that
Dean,
coming.
Nolan
If
Smith.
somebody,
But Aaron Glenn loses the DPOY and the defense still is playing at this high of a
Aaron
level.
Glenn's going to get head coaching interviews. I think Vic Fangio, if you want to say he's better, that's fine. I think they're in the conversation with each other.
Like, I could hear a push here,
I
too.
just think we didn't expect Philly's defense to be right now ranked like 3rd.
No. But once
100%
Hutchinson went
agree.
down, I was not expecting Detroit
That's
to
the
stay in the
fact.
top
That's fair.
5.
That's fair. But that's fair. It's like
That's where I'm at.
I would take us. I think
I get
Vic,
it.
we're giving him the respect, the years.
He's a
and stuff
legend.
Like, and
He's
then
a
I'll
like,
say
defensive
this, the
legend.
2 biggest areas that Detroit clears is head coach and
important.
offensive coordinator. So it's 6 to 4 in favor of Philly, but a lot of those are close. Like a lot of those is like,
hear
you
him.
know, I mean, maybe outside like linebacker, like defensive line, Detroit's got some talent. Secondary, they got some talent. But offensive coordinator, I like Kellen Moore. Ben Johnson's the best in the game. Head coach, nobody really likes Nick Sirianni. Dan Campbell is one of the best motivating head coaches in the NFL right now.
No, he is. And we looking at the total categories right now, the Eagles have won quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, defensive line, linebackers, corners, defensive coordinator. That's 7 to we have a tie at offensive line, and then they won head coach, OC, safety, and running
Don't
back.
get me wrong. Or if I'm not mistaken, have you made a decision? You're
I
going.
said Philly.
No, he said the Eagles
Philly.
already.
All right, I wasn't sure.
But he definitely put an asterisk. He said if the Lions are at home. So I'm assuming if the Lions
He
are on
thinks
the
it's
road,
50-50.
so whoever
I'm
gets
still
the
taking
1
Philly.
seed, you're taking.
I would still take Philly just because I'll ride with Jalen Hurts, but it becomes a lot closer to me.
I think
So the separator for you between the 2 teams is quarterback.
Yes.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
kind of in
obviously,
the same boat.
Jalen Hurts,
truthfully.
obviously, he's one of my favorite players in the league. But Jared Goff, like, as much as he could get shit on, bro, he's had games where he's been perfect this year. He threw for 400 yards and fucking 4 touchdowns. He's going 18 for 18. He's not making any mistakes. Like, he does have those games for sure where he throws 5 interceptions. I think I've said this. Like, his lows are really fucking low where it is disastrous. But for the most part, he's been one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league this season.
For me-
Goff's been pretty amazing.
defensive line play is the holy grail. I feel like when you have a dominant defensive line, you have a dominant offensive line, it could take you a lot of places, and those teams often end up winning Super Bowls. Look at the Chiefs. You have Chris Jones on the defensive side, and then
truth.
offensive line, one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. And then Mahomes negates some of the left tackle and tackle issues in general. The reason why I side with the Eagles is not just because I think Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback, because I do think he's a better quarterback, but I don't think it's by that much. I think Jared Goff is an exceptional quarterback in his own right. The real reason why I side with the Eagles is because, number one, I trust their ability to protect Jalen Hurts. Who on the lines is going to generate pressure? I mean, you have Lane Johnson against Zadarius Smith, or Jordan Mailata against Zadarius Smith. I mean, that's your edge rusher that you're trusting. And then you have a great interior offensive line. And I love Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader, but like, are any of those guys going to change a game against that Eagles offensive line? I don't think so. And then it's the Lions corners versus the Eagles receivers. I don't trust their corners to match up with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And then you still got to worry about a Dallas Goedert and then Saquon out the backfield. That's where I think the difference in that matchup comes. And then on the opposite side, the Eagles have an elite defensive line. And if they can pressure Jared Goff is going to have a much tougher time dealing with that than Hurts is if they get pressure at him. So that's where I lean the Eagles. And I'm glad that you mentioned the Dan Campbell point, Dehls, because Nick Sirianni, he lost a lot of trust in Eagles fans, in the media, in everyday football fans alike last year with the way that the Eagles collapsed. But when you look at his resume, he's 42-19 as a head coach, 69% win percentage. When he took the Eagles head coaching job, the Eagles had came from a 4-11-1 season, and their win total was 6.5 wins. And he took that team to the playoffs, and they went 9-8 with a quarterback in Jalen Hurts who we did not know what he was going to be yet. Devontae Smith was a rookie receiver. They didn't have a plethora of great pass catching options. They were led by their offensive and defensive line. After that year, the very next year, they win 14 games. Nick Sirianni has had one bad year where he made the wrong calls on coordinators with Sean Desai and then Brian Johnson. He learned from that. He picked better coordinators with Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, and now the Eagles are on their way to being the first seed in the NFC. It's not like Dan Campbell is without his warts. Isn't he the same guy that blew a 17-point lead in the NFC Championship game to the 49ers? I think Dan Campbell is more likable. He's more passionate. You can even argue that because Nick Sirianni is very passionate. Dan Campbell gives you more energy. Like you feel like you can trust him more. But Nick Sirianni, with these results that he has, we can't just act like, yeah, Dan Campbell is by far and away better than Sirianni, because if we're talking about who's the most important coach on the Lions, you could argue it's Ben Johnson. And if the Lions lose Ben Johnson, that might be like the Eagles losing Shane Steichen, and then we have to see who Dan Campbell replaces him with. So all I'm saying is that Nick Sirianni, I feel like with him and Dan Campbell, it's more of a push for a head coach, for who could be the better one. Nick Sirianni took a team to the playoffs that was projected to finish as the worst team in their division, and he doesn't get credit for that. He made one mistake, picking bad coordinators last year, and that cost the Eagles, but he has redeemed himself this year.
Just to play devil's advocate, because listen, I get it, like results based for sure. Detroit was in the dumps. Detroit was down bad. This was an organization, even with Matthew Stafford, never reached the heights of what we're seeing right now, where they're perennial Super Bowl contenders, it seems like, where they're competing for number one seeds and have the division on lock for the most part. Detroit hasn't been there in a long, long, long time, and we saw them just win their first home playoff game in like fucking 30, 40 years, however long it had been. Dan Campbell changed the culture of what Detroit Lions are right now, right? The Detroit Lions, for the most part, have been a laughingstock. Now they are one of the most tough, hard-nosed type of team that everyone wants to go play for. The Eagles, for all of our lives, have been a well-run team. Doesn't matter who is that head coach outside maybe Chip Kelly. Whoever head coach went in there, Doug Peterson, who's a disaster now, Nick Sirianni, right? Of course, you had Andy Reid for years. For the most part, they've always had an established front office, ownership. Everything was always run the right way. So while I get it, the results are there for Nick Sirianni. I would argue if who's the most important head coach or who's the most important coach on Philly? I don't think it's Nick Sirianni. It's probably Vic Fangio.
It is.
So I think you can say the same thing about Ben Johnson. You can say the same thing about Vic Fangio. I just think that it's easier to continue the success that Philly had. Of course, the last year with Doug Peterson was a disaster. I'm not putting nothing beyond that. But Howie Roseman, the ownership with Jeffrey Lurie, they have been established one of the best organizations in football. Detroit had not been that for a long time.
I understand that, and I think Dan Campbell deserves a lot of credit for the Lions turnaround. Brad Holmes also deserves a lot of credit for the Lions turnaround as well. They have become a well-run organization, and most of that has been Dan Campbell. If not, I would say 80% of it. Like, I'm not knocking what Dan Campbell has built, but I also can't ignore that Sirianni is 42-19 as a head coach. A 70% win percentage damn near. First season, you make the playoffs. Second season, you are first in the NFC and you run through the league and get to the Super Bowl. Third year, you still make the playoffs, even when in the second half of the season, you lose almost every single game. And now this year, they could very well finish with the first seed in the NFC. We have seen Nick Sirianni took a team that just traded Carson Wentz and had an insane dead cap to the playoffs. With a rookie quarterback, with a rookie wide receiver.
Second year.
And that was Nick Sirianni's first year.
Nick Sirianni's first year was the second year of gotcha, I'm understanding.
Yeah, it was the second year of Jalen Hurts, yes.
Correct, I'm here.
But, I mean, he took over an organization that just traded its franchise quarterback, just fired its Super Bowl winning head coach. They thought he was going to be a joke. I still remember the beginning press conference that he had. Everybody was clowning him. And ironically, everybody clowned Dan Campbell when he first got hired as well.
Rip off their kneecaps.
Like, I think Dan Campbell is a better head coach. I'm not saying Nick Sirianni is a better head coach, but I'm just saying it might be closer than what meets the eye.
Eagles fan? Any thoughts?
I think it's close. I think both teams are super talented. I think both teams have the high-powered stars, the names, the high-end guys, the low-end guys. I think they have everything you need. I think both teams provide both things on offense and defense. I think Philly's offense kind of gets misinterpreted wrong. We're one of the worst first quarter offenses in football.
Yep.
From quarters 2 to 4, we're a top 5 offense in football. Like after quarter 1, after we get that rugged slow start out the way, we're one of the best offenses in football.
Which makes no sense to me, truthfully.
It really doesn't, but truly we just got to wait for that slow start to get off, but then boom. And our defense has been on a different tear. We've pretty much shut down the Commanders, the Washington Commanders, who have been one of the best offenses in football. Shut down the Bengals a couple weeks ago. Had a couple whatever games, in Dallas and the Giants and all that stuff. But I think Detroit's been on the same type of tear. I think the most important part for me, I don't even think going quarterback for quarterback matters. I don't think going around. I think it's really the head coaching battle. I think Nick Sirianni, he's still trying to get Eagles fans to fall back in love with him. I think he's still trying to get us to have faith in him, to trust him. He is probably one of the most unpredictable coaches going into a football game because you don't know what Nick you're going to get. Are you going to get aggressive Nick? Are you going to get
Take the points, Nick?
Yeah, I don't want to say soft Nick, but are you going to get passive Nick? Are you going to get fucking curse at the fans Nick? Or like what type of Nick are you going to get? Are you going to get let's not run the ball on 4th and 1, 4th and 2. Let's not pay Saquon this money and not give him the ball. Let's trust in Jalen Hurts when we have 2 yards in the best offensive line. So that's the thing. I think with Dan Campbell, you kind of know what you're going to get with him. You know the type of character he is. You know what type of game plan he has. You know what he's going to come into the game with the same mindset. So you have a little bit more faith in that. I think the battle is Ben Johnson versus Vic Fangio. I think that is the most important part of all this. Can our defense withstand that offense of Detroit? Can it stop that high-powered offense? I think our offense is going to be able to get off points no matter who we play against. And I think we can win multiple ways, though. I think we can win in a muddy, nasty game, 15-18. I think we can win in a high-scoring game, 28-30. I think we can win in a shootout. I think we can win in a big turnover game. I think we've shown all year we can win any way we want to, as long as we just get into that fourth quarter. With Detroit, they showed against Houston 5 interceptions, still got it done. So that really for me, that's the thing. I think no matter what weather we're in, cold, hot, sunny, dome, no dome, we can go in there and we can get the W. And I think what we've shown over these past 6 weeks is, we've just been on a different tear defensively. The one thing that's been holding this team back has been the defense. Past 2 or 3, even that year we went to the Super Bowl, we were calling it a fake defense because we didn't play nobody. Last year, our defense was absolutely terrible. Now we have guys who have kind of stepped up and been one of the best in their position. Jayden Carter, he's been one of the best defensive tackles in the game. Quinyon's been one of the best corners.
Amazing. Cooper's
been amazing. Zach Bond's been one of the best linebackers. Now we have a guy at every level. It's really going to be hard for them to get points off against us. But I think these two are the best teams in the NFC. I think they will see each other in the NFC Championship game, God willing, because that'll be fire whenever we see them. I just think I'm more on the side of I think it's close. I think for people like unbiasedly putting my analyst hat on, if you're a Philly fan, we can't just sleep on Detroit.
Absolutely
If
not.
you're a Lions fan, you can't just sleep on Philly. I really think it's a tale of two. Because it's also on the quarterbacks, which Hurts and Jared Goff are you going to get? Like Hurts hasn't been his perfect self all year too. Sometimes we could get that Green Bay game where he started off the first 3 or 4 drives. What was it? Turnover, just mishap after mishap. Then he got it going. Jared Goff, which Jared Goff are you going to get? So it really is between quarterback and head coach, whichever the best you get that day is probably going to come out with the victory.
Yeah, and even with Nick Sirianni not taking points, Dan Campbell was aggressive in the NFC Championship game, and he got a lot of backlash for not taking those field goals, and that ended up costing them. But listen, that is...
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yep.
That's the DNA of these teams. That's what Nick Sirianni is. Nick Sirianni, first time being a head coach, first year, that's what he did all the time. And Eagles fans and NFL media and analysts loved him for that. They absolutely adored him for that. Now it's an issue. Dan Campbell is aggressive on fourth down. You know, you love him for that until the NFC Championship game rolls around and it doesn't become successful. So this is just who they are. I think Nick Sirianni and Dan Campbell are both pretty similar head coaches. They're not calling a side of the ball. They are motivators. I think Dan Campbell's more of a motivator. They're both passionate head coaches. They're aggressive head coaches. You know, I think they're similar head coaches, in my opinion.
I also think you can't forget that Dan Campbell was in these players' shoes as well.
Yes.
That is a huge reason why his players will go to war for him. They know that he practiced what he preaches now. That's the difference in I feel in motivation and also his knowledge of the game as well, because he experienced it as a player, and being on the offensive side, he does have that mindset as well of knowing who to put in charge. And to his credit, he hired arguably the best offensive mind in football right now. And also he put his trust in Aaron Glenn, and Aaron Glenn has rewarded him tenfold, especially this season with the way that they've been able to produce. So I have to give the edge there to Dan Campbell, especially for the unbelievable turnaround of a franchise. I think it goes with Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. When you speak Dan Campbell, you need to include Brad Holmes because the two of them work together. They built this together. So it really... It gets into a point where now we're getting bigger than just the head coaches, but truthfully, what they've been able to do in such a short amount of time while the two have been together, that's what overly impresses me, because they completely overhauled this roster and turned it into a juggernaut. And not to say that the Eagles didn't do that also in one off season, particularly talking about the defense, but the foundation was there. We saw it 2 years ago when they were a Super Bowl team, when they only lost 2 games in the regular season, when they cakewalked all the way to the Super Bowl. They were one drive away from walking away with the Lombardi Trophy, but we saw their holes. We knew that they needed to be better on the defensive side, that their secondary needed to be better. They didn't address it last year. They tried, they thought they did, they didn't. But this year, that was their only primary focus. And also adding Saquon Barkley, which obviously has changed how we look at the
argue
Eagles.
Nick probably did it more than Dan Campbell. I mean, the year before he went to the Super Bowl, or even the year before he went, we was in the playoffs before that. We were asked before that playoff run. So he didn't turn 2 different teams into Super Bowl contenders within like 4 or 5 years. You know
what it makes me think of, though? That first year with the Lions, when Goff gets traded there with of course, Stafford going to the Rams, winning the Super Bowl. You see it in the last couple of games with the Lions. I remember vividly when we were on the show, and I'm like, I love what this Lions team is building.
They're the best worst team.
Yes, I think
Was
that same year? It might have been.
It was
that the year they played the Packers week 18?
Yes.
Packers won to get in.
That was the year after year after.
They made the playoffs the year
Yes.
after, yes. First year they were bad.
So we saw what they were building there, but it obviously didn't come to fruition until late. Then that following year comes, and then they start playing shitty, but then you finally start to see it mid-season, and now Amon-Ra is now breaking out, and now we're seeing him be one of the main factors. And then, yes, they go and they upset. That's the year I'm talking about. That year where they kick out Green Bay from making the playoffs, and Jamal Williams rushes for 17 touchdowns.
I think Kirby Joseph had an interception that game against Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe he did. But the whole point of that is it was a slow progression. But at the same time, there were still glimpses of seeing them be what they can be, and just minor adjustments turned them into what this is now.
I mean, listen, it's not like Dan Campbell was free of criticism early on. I mean, never from any of us we thought this, but I mean, there was a real point in time where in Dan Campbell's second season, when the Lions had one win on the year, halfway through the year, people were talking about firing Dan Campbell. Yeah, that was very real. And now we're at a spot where Dan Campbell just like is clearly better than Sirianni after Sirianni hasn't had any losing seasons.
Nick was just on the hot seat.
He was
at the bye.
He was, and then listen,
if you had a bad season
it.
this year, he's getting fired.
Yep.
You
He
lose in the
fixed it.
first round, you don't make the playoffs, he is gone.
So that's why I'm saying,
Still
like,
might
you
be a
know,
thing.
I think Dan Campbell's better. If I played in the NFL and I had my choice to who I wanted to play for, I would want to play for Dan Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Nick Sirianni, you can't ignore a 70% win percentage. You know, that's something that only the all-time great head coaches have. And for Sirianni to do that, I think it's pretty remarkable. We can't just set that aside.
He does have an incredible team. He's had some incredible teams.
He also made the playoffs at 9-8 with a 6.5 win total in the preseason. Nobody thought they were going to do
but
that.
then on the adverse side of it, you can also go and say, hey, he's made the playoffs 3 times. He's been a first-round exit twice. He did have a Super Bowl run. You argue in the past, and of course, you're not the only one, that it was a Mickey Mouse run.
That's all he has to do is don't fuck it up.
That's
Just let Fangio do his thing.
Yes.
Let Kellen Moore do his thing. Make the don't fuck it up. If he doesn't fuck it up, we're good. If he starts getting a little stubborn, getting a little hard-headed, getting in his mode, who knows? Something could happen, something not could happen. I think Dan Campbell, he's a little different because he kind of lets Ben Johnson do his thing a little bit. I think Nick sometimes
Compared
likes
to Nick,
I think
for
Nick
sure.
sometimes likes to get in, wants to get a little bit of the credit. And there's nothing wrong with that sometimes. There really is nothing wrong with
It's
that.
not. Sirianni's a great offensive mind. He got hired because when he was in the Colts, it was Phillip Rivers last year in the NFL with the Colts. Nick Sirianni was the offensive coordinator, and he designed that entire offense. And they won 10 games, lost to the Bills in the first round. So that's why Sirianni got hired in the first place. So it's not like he doesn't know anything about offense. Like, he
definitely
was
knows
an
some stuff.
offensive coordinator with the Colts, and that's what got him the job. So, you know, like I said, I think Dan Campbell's better, but Sirianni, he's redeeming himself for last year in that collapse. And if the Eagles go on a run this year, we can't just ignore the win percentage that Sirianni has and how he was able to bounce back from bad coordinator hires. Like, that's the biggest thing. You hire the right people in the building, and that's all it is sometimes. We're seeing the 49ers right now struggle with it. Kyle Shanahan bringing in Brandon Staley to the building, and the Niners defense falling off. Since Robert Saleh and DeMeco Ryans left, you've had Steve Wilkes, Nick Sorensen, and then Brandon Staley's one of the assistants on that
bring Robert
defense.
back.
You know, Kyle Shanahan, that defense has fallen off because he hasn't found the right coordinators on that side of the ball.
Call Robert Saleh right now. Hey,
Shit,
brother.
he might go to Green Bay if shit doesn't work out with the DC over there.
That's
No,
a
I
fact.
know, but he's doing a good job. It's
brother, if
just, the
Shanahan
talent's
gets
not
into the
there.
office, I'll be honest, I don't care if we win the Super Bowl. Bring me Shanahan.
All right, so Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills beat the Chiefs this weekend. It was a MVP performance from Josh
Dick.
Allen.
Oh, yeah, Josh.
And we know that in the regular season, the Bills have the Chiefs' number. They have a winning record against them, but in the playoffs, they don't have the number. Do you think this year the Bills can dethrone the Chiefs? Is this the year the Chiefs fall? I know, Dehls, you said that the Chiefs ain't going to the Super Bowl this year. But you haven't picked a team that's going to beat them yet.
You know who I'm going to pick.
Who are you going to pick?
The Ravens.
Be serious, man.
Well, you know where I'm going to
Be serious.
Listen, man, I just feel like this is a Rev podcast. You know, we're talking about my Eagles. Now we're talking about my Bills.
Let's talk about Darius Garland later.
We should. We did that last night. We're actually talking about a lot of Rev stuff this week, and I'm excited about that. I feel like I'm getting a lot of attention. I love that. Appreciate you guys. As for my Buffalo Bills, listen, man, Josh Allen's one of those guys. We know he shows up against the Chiefs no matter what time it is, who they play, when they play. It doesn't matter. Josh is probably one of the few dudes that can probably outplay Mahomes in a lot of their games or playoff games, and they still fuck around and lose the game. I think primarily why they lose those games, the defense. You know, I think last year in the playoffs, they missed out on a couple big plays that they probably should have made. You know, particularly the one that's in my brain again. It's just Stephon Diggs. Big drop, the big 50-yard TD, probably 50-yard that could have set up a nice TD, and it just went through Stephon Diggs'
That was one of the
hand.
craziest passes I ever seen.
It was a fucking dime, and Diggs just said, "Oh shit, my bad." So like, you know, and Buffalo had that game. It was in Buffalo, probably the worst Chiefs team you could probably ever see, and then boom, we get this team. You know, so it's like
The team ended up winning the Super Bowl, too.
yeah. So it's like the Chiefs are just insane. But I think what's different, honestly, genuinely, the defense. I think defensively, they're much better than what they were last year. And, I think it's because of the pieces that they have. Terrell Bernard has been a stud for them. They did just get Matt Milano back. Von Miller, when he does play them, he's much better than what he was last year. He probably isn't the same superstar high-end guy as he was before, but he's now. Last year, he wasn't giving you nothing. This year, he's giving you something. You have Greg Rousseau. You have Ed Oliver. Have Daquan Jones. You have a good collection of defensive linemen that can get to the quarterback. Your linebackers in Dorian Williams, Terrell Bernard have been strong. Matt Milano's back. You have a really strong defensive unit. And then your secondary. I mean, their secondary is probably one of the best underrated secondaries in the league. You have Teron, you have Douglas, you have Benford, you have Taylor Rapp back there, who's a solid guy. DeMar Hamlin's been cool this year.
He has.
Because last year he was pretty bad. And I think what's different about last year is you're much healthier than what you were last year. This Buffalo Bills defense has been ravaged by injuries over the past 2 or 3 seasons. To Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Von Miller, Matt Milano. This defense, Tre'Davious White. This defense has been bashed and battered through these last 2 or 3 years walking into the playoffs. You finally have stability. You finally know what you want to do. I think we all respect Sean McDermott to a degree. He's a good head coach. He's definitely a good defensive coach. This year, he's kind of taking a step back from the offensive play calling. And I think now you have a wide receiver in Amari Cooper. You have a solid number 2, 3, 4 in Keon, in Khalil Shakir, Dawson Knox, because Dalton Kincaid has been MIA this year. And Curtis Samuel is starting to wake up a little bit in the play calling. And then James Cook has been a quality running back for you. And then your offensive line has been consistent, and it's had the same continuity it's been for the 2 or 3 years. I think this year, it always feels like it could be Buffalo's year. I feel like you always have a moment in the season where you're thinking, can Buffalo dethrone them? Can they do this? Can they do that? I don't know if it's this year. I feel like the Chiefs, their offense is still really good. Defensively, they definitely have taken a step back. But it's so hard to bet against Andy Reid, Kelsey, and Mahomes come playoff time in a playoff environment. The only thing I can hope for with Buffalo is get the number 1 seed. You get another home playoff game. Try your best. You got your defense. I think the defense is much, much better than last year. It's much more stable than last year. I think they have a better chance than what they did last year, even though last year was so fucking close that they could have won. I think it'll be another classic shootout game that we usually get. And you hope for the best at the end of the game. You hope they don't get the ball and you get the ball to end the game. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I think this head coaching staff, or this coaching staff in general, deserves a ton of credit because, me included, I did not think coming into this season Buffalo was going to be able to compete with the Chiefs. I thought they took a step back from where they were last season, especially losing Stephon Diggs, not having a wide receiver 1. Of course, they made adjustment, draft Keon Coleman. You pick up Amari Cooper, so maybe that gets a bit nullified. But I really got to give credit to this coaching staff because Sean McDermott got a contract extension last offseason, maybe the one previous.
It was last or the one previous.
And not that I turned my head, but it was just like, that's interesting, right? Because this is a team that has Super Bowl aspirations every single year. And you come close every year. And every year it's Kansas City, so maybe it's not fair because it's Patrick Mahomes, it's the boogeyman. No one could really fucking beat him outside of Joe Burrow for a year or two, right? So maybe that's not fair to look at it. But this would seem coming into the year that you always give them respect because it's Josh Allen. But of course, me being my biased Jets fan and just looking around the league, of course, Lamar Jackson, you got some teams like the Chargers maybe, and the Houston, what they did last season. I feel like I disrespected Buffalo not thinking they had a chance this year because of their holes. But I feel like Sean McDermott's done a great job, especially as you mentioned. Defensively, this has been one of the better Buffalo Bills defense we've had in the last couple of seasons. And then offensively, I got to give Joe Brady a lot of credit because last season I was not completely sold on Brady because I thought the second half of last year when he took over, they were tremendous, right? They were putting up basically the same numbers that they were prior to him getting hired, but top 5 EPA success rate. The numbers were crazy. But I feel like we had seen Joe Brady get figured out, right? Against when he was in Carolina, talent, of course, isn't equal, but I felt like over time the offense got progressively worse and worse. This year, I feel like this is one of the most balanced rushing attacks or balanced offense we've seen from Buffalo. A lot of the time, it's Josh Allen, go out there, figure it out. And in the biggest moments, it's going to be it. Like that last touchdown where he breaks out of the pocket, goes and scores a touchdown. Josh Allen's going to do that because he's just so damn talented. It would be foolish not to put a lot on his shoulders. But the way he's able to balance out this offense, and also James Cook breaking out this year, right? He's had flashes last couple of seasons, always been an efficient running back, but he hasn't been someone that's been a workhorse for this Buffalo Bills team. That's completely changed this year, where it's like he's the obvious RB1. He's playing well. You also have Ray Davis, who's a backup rookie running back who's playing well. Spelling him here and there around the goal line too. It's been James Cook, who gets like 3 touchdowns a year. He's been able to break that off as well this season. So I feel like on both sides, this is a team that felt like took a step back coming into the season. But this coaching staff deserves a lot of credit because I like the way the defense is compared to last year. And the offense is playing just as well, if not better, than last season. And you don't have the Stephon Diggs kind of headache looming around like, why is he only getting 2 or 3 targets? You have a collection of receivers. Keon's playing well. Amari's playing well. Khalil Shakir might be playing the best out of all of them. You got a running back room with Ray Davis and, of course, James Cook leading the way. That's been one of the better and more efficient rushing attacks in the NFL. So a really balanced offense where you don't have to need Josh Allen to have 50 plays a game passing and running, and this defense is playing well too. So, I mean, of course, I love Baltimore. I think they could take down KC, but Buffalo can too. It's just when you get in that big moment against Kansas City, when you can't leave 13 seconds on the clock, it sucks because they find ways to win games. Every single year, they find the ways to, in just those small margins, to get one leg up on Buffalo. So it could be any given year. You need one year where the fucking kicker screws up and Kansas City misses a field goal. You need one play from that left tackle spot where there's a holding and sets them back to 2nd and 20. Now it's a long drive. You need one of those plays to go your way, but Buffalo is right there when it comes to Kansas City.
I hear things like that and I get sucked into lazy analysis. Myself. It gets to that where I hear stuff like that and not that anything you're saying is wrong. Nothing you said there is wrong. But when I hear like, it's just going to be a lucky break for Buffalo. That's just kind of what it's going to take until you beat them in the playoffs. Nobody should go with the idea that somebody can dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs. Every single week we sit here and we acknowledge that the Kansas City Chiefs just don't look that perfect record clean. But they find ways to win these close games because they have the boogeyman, because that rush defense has been so dominant, because, of course, you have to respect Andy Reid and Spagnuolo, because they're so great in the margins. 9 times out of 10, they're going to come away with the W. Now, this past weekend, you have to tip your cap because in a big moment where we've seen Sean McDermott be a little bit passive, take your points, trust your defense, he said, I'm going to trust the best player on my team, arguably the best player between the two teams right now where we stand, and I'm going to put the ball in his hands and have him make a play. And he was rewarded with that with the touchdown and obviously inevitably winning the football game. Now, you give praise in the regular season. You give praise for the moment. But when we talk about Kansas City and we talk about the Buffalo Bills, all that matters is the playoffs. And all that we've seen in the playoffs, regardless of how close and how marginal it's been, we've seen Kansas City come out on top. So call me lazy, call me what you want. Until somebody in the AFC is able to dethrone them, you have to take Kansas City. Because I agree, the secondary doesn't look clean. It doesn't look dominant like we saw last year. Now it's kind of inverse, where last year their rush defense was weak. This year their rush defense has been awesome, but their pass defense, there's some holes there. And then you look at the offense, it's been advanced numbers-wise. It's been better than last year's. Mahomes doesn't look clean this season. He didn't look great last year, but come playoff time, suddenly now Mahomes is back. Outside of maybe that Ravens game where you give them credit, you held him to 17 points. That was a great performance by Baltimore. But in the Super Bowl, on third and shorts, on 4th and shorts, you call Mahomes' number, he got the job done. When it's a close game, you 10 times out of 10 should take Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't like saying this. I want them to lose. Every single week I want them to lose. But when you try and be objective, the objective truth is when you need a big play, 9 times out of 10, Kansas City Chiefs are going to come out on top. And come playoff time, until another team proves it, you can't pick them.
If the Bills make the Super Bowl, it's going to be because they traded for Amari Cooper. I think that was a missing piece for them. They needed a true wide receiver that could win on the outside because Keon Coleman can't do it. Khalil Shakir can't do it. They didn't have anybody. And Amari Cooper was that difference maker for them. This is a Bills team that I feel like for the first time that I've watched the Bills, Josh Allen has help. Yes, you can say he had Stephon Diggs, yeah, but That was one player. And outside of him, you didn't trust anybody else.
Yeah, Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis, yeah, and he's a fraud.
He had 4 touchdowns, 200 yards. They lost.
To be fair, Josh always leaves the field winning when they play the Chiefs.
Well, he had that chance with the play over the middle, and he just fell short.
They still was up when he left the field.
That's, I guess, a good point. But
I just look at the Bills
Still
this
up,
year.
sadly.
Josh Allen has help. He doesn't have to do everything. They can win by rushing the football and Allen throwing for 23 times a game. Like, they can win a variety of different ways. He can win while also still being Superman. But now the stress and the strain of carrying the offense is not all on his shoulders anymore. He has a supporting cast. This offensive line is one of the best in the NFL, and the defense is always great with Sean McDermott. The thing with the Chiefs this year, I don't feel the same way this year that I felt about them last year. Last year, I trusted their defense in any spot because they had L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie and Chris Jones, and then Leo Chanel, Nick Bolton. I mean, they just got a plethora of dudes there. L'Jarius Sneed was a gigantic loss in the offseason. He hasn't played well in Tennessee, but the bigger loss really for this year has been Jalen Watson going down. Jalen Watson was playing really well as that outside boundary corner. McDuffie this year has had to take the role of L'Jarius Sneed because last year Sneed was covering the Brandon Ayuks of the world, and McDuffie was playing the nickel, and he was blitzing, and he was all over the field. He was kind of playing like the Cooper DeJean role that he's playing with Philly right now, and that's how he was moved around the field. Now McDuffie can't be that blitzer. McDuffie can't play the same role. He has to be stuck to the role that Sneed was in. And now Jalen Watson, who was reliable for them all year long, he goes down. He's on IR. He's not going to be back this year. And Najee Johnson is the other corner, and he's been getting torched. He got picked apart by the Bills the entire game. McDuffie this year is allowing a 95 passer rating as well. He has not been as shut down as L'Jarius Sneed was last year. The secondary is a major concern for me with the Kansas City Chiefs. And then the left tackle play. Out of 90 offensive tackles in the league this year, Wanya Morris ranked 67th. He's hurt, and he's not playing. The rookie left tackle is playing. He ranks 89th out of 90 left tackles. He is the worst left tackle playing right now. They constantly have to use chip help, and the Chiefs are slow. Travis Kelce, DeAndre Hopkins, these are players past their prime. You can feel how slow they are on offense. I think part of it's going to help when they get Pacheco back. He's going to add a different dimension to the offense. He's going to add more explosiveness because they had Kareem Hunt running out the backfield. And I do think if they can get Xavier Worthy situated, and if he can have a breakout like Rashee Rice did, which is unlikely, but if he can have it, then you're talking about a Chiefs offense that can replicate what they did last year. But last year, to me, the Chiefs were a defensive-first football team that relied on Mahomes in the big moments on offense to convert certain plays. But that was a defensive-first team. Look at how many points they held the Ravens to. Look at how they shut down the 49ers offense in the second half of that game. It was a defensive-first team, and right now the secondary is weak, and Chris Jones is not getting any help on that defensive line. They double-teamed him on like 33% of plays versus the Bills. George Karlaftis is in a big slump right now. They don't have enough help. Charles Omenihu who's coming back, so maybe that gives them a boost, but I don't feel the same about the Chiefs this year. I don't. I really don't. The defense is the most concerning part, and I feel like this defense, to me, was the strong suit of that defense and what propelled them to make their run.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully you're right, brother. I don't want to see the Kansas City Chiefs back in the Super Bowl.
They won't.
I want to see Baltimore.
I want to see Buffalo.
I was going to say, there's really no team in the AFC I feel overwhelmingly confident in. That's why I feel left with saying the same thing every single week.
I'm super confident this year.
I pray to the good Lord you're right, Riff.
I like their defense, man. It's much better than the last 2 years, man. It's much better.
Because even still, I watched what the Ravens did to you guys.
That's a bad matchup.
I watched what the Texans did to you guys early on.
Different team.
Yeah, that was also the offense just being dog shit, too.
We actually could have still won that game.
Nico went down after the first drive, and still, you guys came back, and it was a good game at the end, but...
We were never really down big.
No, it was 17-3?
No.
Something like that?
Was it? That's all right. Cooper wasn't there. That shit don't even matter to me.
But Cooper also has been banged up.
And then he played against them. You saw what he did. It's the Chiefs.
The Chiefs, they can shut down the run, though. I mean, obviously, when you have Josh Allen, it doesn't matter. Like, James Cook only had 20-something yards in this game. They've been the best rush defense probably in football this season, so that's one area they can beat you. And, of course, like, going up against Baltimore with Derrick Henry, if you could shut down Derrick Henry, of course Lamar's been sensational this year, but they've been so damn good because Derrick Henry's been the best fucking running back in football.
We're a little bit susceptible to the run, so Baltimore, they'll just run over us. So it's like matchup dependent.
It's just Baltimore now.
We'll see.
Adding Diontae Johnson just gives him a different element.
Can he play?
If he needs to get integrated more to the offense.
Yeah,
but when you have Zay Flowers and Diontae on the outside, I mean, that's going to be hard for any cornerback room to cover.
I still like Bateman. Maybe I'm living in the few plays that he makes, but it seems like they're impactful every single time he makes a play. And Diontae, you're right. Where's the opportunity? That's kind of been what's shocking to me since the trade's been made. But regardless, I think adding him was just... Now we just got another body.
I wonder how many percent of snaps. Because his first week was short week Thursday. I think that Bengals game.
He played 6 snaps, if I'm not mistaken, that second week on the team. And this past weekend, I feel like I barely heard his name. I know for a fact he had a play over the top on the 18%. Left-hand side. 18% this past weekend.
Yep.
I believe there was one play I remember seeing him that he was involved in targeted to where kind of hits his hands. Would have been a nice play, maybe even a touchdown. Drops it. There just seems to be a lack of trust between him and coaches. Yeah. And also, it seems as if they really like what Bateman's been giving them, which I'm not against.
The more the merrier.
Yeah, literally. That's what you need against these teams in the AFC.
Chiefs not winning it, bro. I'm telling y'all. Trust me.
I pray to God. I don't.
They will lose.
I need to see it.
In the AFC divisional.
Because I get called, you slept. So I'm just like, all right.
I'd rather be wrong than... Right.
I've been wrong 2 years in a row.
We're here.
After week 11, Bo Nix had a great game against the Falcons, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns.
I just know where this is.
And then it's led to conversation about, is Bo Nix in the lead?
There we go.
For Offensive Rookie of the Year.
What do you think?
Well, he's clearly not.
I know where this is going to go. Here we go. I'll start first because mine's going to be short and simple. I think the conversation around Bo Nix has been unfair. I say that because he was coming in. He was a little bit older, a little bit of an older prospect. Played some years in college.
Same age as his GOAT when he came out.
Who's his GOAT?
Burrow.
Oh, okay. Perfect. He did play for LSU, though, and they were OD. But, Bo Nix came in. He was supposed to be NFL ready. Struggled. Played a healthy Seattle defense. Forgot who you guys played after that. Pittsburgh, yeah, okay. Nobody really plays well against Pittsburgh. Struggled a little bit, but has seemingly found his stride. I think him and Sean Payton have developed a nice relationship, a little bit of a nice connectivity with their playbook, and they've been really well in their offense. They've had some moments against Atlanta, the Chiefs, the Panthers, but I don't think nobody really counts the Panthers, but still a rookie doing that is impressive. I think people have kind of not, you can't say somebody's playing like shit for 4 to 5 weeks, call him trash, he's not going to amount to nothing, but then he's playing well for the next 5 or 6 and be like, it's too early. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be a 50-50, a middle ground, a fairness, and I think we've given that leeway to Caleb Williams, who's supposed to be a generational prospect. He's supposed to be this guy who was supposed to help Chicago win these shit amount of games, and the only teams he's killed is essentially bad defenses, like really bad. So I think if we can give him the leeway, the extreme leash, and I get it, he's super talented, so I would give him the leash too. I think we can get a little bit of a fairness to Bo Nix. I don't think he's in the lead. I think Jayden is still in the lead, but I think Bo Nix is definitely creeping. I think if he gets this Denver team into the playoffs and he doesn't fuck it up, I think he has a real chance of winning the award. But I also think what Jayden is doing with Washington, we expected them to win probably 2-3 games, and the way they've exceeded
with the Broncos.
No, I agree. But the way they've exceeded expectation, I think for Washington, it's been more on the offense performing as opposed to Denver. They've started defense first and then the offense. With Washington, they've had a high-powered offense all year. That's a product to Jayden Daniels. And I think, I don't think they'll win the division, but they had a strong opportunity. They've had the division in their stranglehold for about 4 to 5 weeks. So for me, Jayden is still 1. I think Bo Nix is 2. Caleb has no shot to get 1 or 2 back, I think, as long as those two keep playing like this. And then Drake May's creeping, but I think just the whole both teams are in a playoff aspect and both of those two quarterbacks are playing well, that weighs heavily to me, like more than me. That's kind of like when Scotty Barnes won the Rookie of the Year award, and it was him, Cade, Mobley. What weighed in people's favor is Scotty Barnes was helping a playoff team get to the playoffs, and that kind of was more important than rookies essentially performing on low-end teams. And I think that's kind of where I'm leaning with the Bo Nix, Jayden Daniels thing. So I have Jayden 1, Bo 2, and Drake's sitting pretty at 3.
No Brock Bowers, huh?
Brock Bowers most definitely is in the
above
trio.
Caleb.
It's a quarterback thing for me. Like
He's top 3 in receiving yards amongst tight ends.
no, that's is he top 3? I thought it was.
Yes.
No, he's not.
He has 7.
Oh, he says tight ends.
He's
I
top.
apologize.
He's actually top 10 in receiving yards in general.
Oh,
And right now
that is-
he's on pace to break the record for receptions by a tight end.
On pace for
Period.
120.
No, that's
catches,
OD.
yeah.
He'd probably be 4th.
Honestly, I wouldn't even mind if he was first.
Who?
Brock Bowers.
I think that's rude.
I don't think it's crazy.
I don't think it's crazy, but at the same time, I
Jayden Daniels
understand.
has them 7 and 3.
It's a QB award, really.
It is. That's exactly what I was going to say. Now, I love where you started because a lot of what you're saying is going to lead into what my sentiment ultimately is. Because early on, they used analytics and they used advanced numbers against Bo Nix. The number one thing I heard from this man constantly about Bo Nix,
This man
even
right
though
here?
I would just say, hey, we grew little by little. There's pieces, there's things about his game that I like. He's last in EPA. He's like historically bad EPA wise. When we get into like the all-time list of how bad quarterbacks, he's like 219th out of 221.
At the time when Richardson got benched. Yes.
So my stance now is you move goalposts now because now allegedly EPA is no longer quarterback. Now it's team stats.
It's always
which
been the
it
same stat.
always been.
But what is this leading
Joel,
to?
There we go,
let me
Dale.
finish. But now, because now in this side, now it's
we go.
because when he's actually played well since week 5, what is he better at than the current leader in the Rookie of the Year race, which I agree. The current leader is Jayden Daniels. Who will win is Bo Nix because of the end of season schedule. I believe that we will go on a great run. There's one defense that I am fearful of, and that is the Chargers. 1, it's a division game, and 2, the Chargers have just been one of the best defenses in the league. Now, since week 5, because again, like you mentioned, Riff, he's a rookie, and there's going to be growing pains regardless of age. Since week 5, he has a higher adjusted EPA, has a better regular EPA, better success rate, better completion percentage. Now, ADOT, that's been the big issue for Bo Nix because they're trying to say it's a lot of scheme. But we've spoken a lot about Jayden Daniels and his first read rate. Where he's going and his first read is usually the play that he's going at. Now, I'd be lying if I said that you watch the tape and you understand there's times where he lets the play progress. The game that sticks out to me is the Giants game. But a lot of what they're trying to use against Bo Nix is this ADOT. This past weekend, his historic game, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, 80% completion percentage, only been done by one person, Bo Nix. But it's ADOT of 4 yards. What does that mean to me? It was a scheme game. So Sean Payton gets all the credit, gets a majority of it. Let me not say all, but he gets a lot of credit because he schemed up a great game plan against a poor defense. But if we go from week 5, Jayden Daniels and him only differ by 0.6 yards in ADOT. So if everything has been since week 5, like I've mentioned, when he's actually turned it on, and I won't get into the box score stats because, of course, that's where things get boring because Bo Nix is first in essentially everything since then because he's really figured it out since that point in time. That's where I just don't want the goalpost to be moved too much where we use these advanced stats against Bo Nix to start his career, even though it was only a handful of games. But now that he's actually been playing well and the advanced stats actually favor him over the darling, which is fair because Jayden's been beautiful to watch, especially considering both situations. But now because it doesn't go against it goes against what you've been pushing, now we have to move the goalpost and now go back to reverting to
Joel doesn't seem to agree, so I'm excited
It's
to
not
hear.
goalpost moving. You can't just forget the first 4 weeks of the season. You are actually moving the goalpost by just using the week 5 sample size
He is a
onward.
rookie. And since then, he has played objectively
Riv.
great football for a rookie.
That was Riff. If we got 2 players and one player started off great and one player started off poor, and then over the last couple of games, one player is playing really well and another player is struggling a bit, and you just use the sample size that one player is playing well and that other player is struggling, is that not goalpost moving?
It's not fair. It's not the whole picture.
Okay,
not
and
fair.
the question is who's offense rookie of the year, which means this is not a since week 5 offense rookie of the year, because if this question was since week 5, then I think Bo Nix would be in the lead.
What did I say though? Just so we're
said
fair.
he said Jayden's
I
in the
said
lead.
right now.
He also
where
had
we
a tweet
stand-
that said Bo Nix was
Of course.
the offensive
and,
rookie of
and
the
that
year.
tweet did numbers.
Yeah, good job.
Because I knew what I'm doing. That being said, I know how things are going to go.
Yeah.
I see our schedule. I see how beautiful of football that the offense is playing. And I see the level that Bo Nix is playing, and week by week, He's getting better.
I've been here.
He's getting more confident in the pocket because we have one of the best offensive lines in the league, and by one of, statistically, it's the best. We've been playing excellent football. Cortland Sutton's been playing excellent. We see Velez coming in. And he's been playing great football.
I was so excited seeing Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims get involved, man. That moved me.
That's the shit that gets me excited too, because now we're actually getting the ball in space, allowing them to create. Sean Payton gets a lot of love, but what kills me is that they were calling him overrated as well. And listen, prior to him becoming a Denver Bronco, of course, there's tape of me disrespecting Sean Payton, but I've seen what he's been able to do as my head coach, and all you can do is respect and appreciate. This season specifically, where we started off pretty shakily, he has instilled trust into Bo Nix, and he's responded and met that with great success as well. And again, I agree with the point where we were talking off camera. I don't even think this was his best game. No. This wasn't his best game. The game versus the Panthers was definitely his best game. But you execute at this level, you take what the defense is giving you. I can hear that too. I can hear it, but I just think in terms of outcomes, numbers. But you take what the defense is giving you. We give that benefit of doubt to everyone, but when it goes it goes against your agenda. That's where I just don't want things to be moved.
Here's my thing, and I'm just trying to get on the topic of the Offensive Rookie of the Year conversation. Let's put it into NBA terms. It's a playoff series. First to four, right? Basic stats: total touchdowns is Bo Nix. Less interceptions is Jayden Daniels. Total yards is Jayden Daniels. Passer rating is Jayden Daniels. QBR is Jayden Daniels. Let's get into advanced stats. EPA per play is Jayden Daniels, even though after week 5, Bo Nix, I mean, he's been playing well. And yes, the stat EPA per play has shown he has played well. And yes, he has played well. Success rate since the beginning of the season, it has been Jayden Daniels. And also, under pressure, this is really a differentiator for me. Jayden Daniels is the 6th highest graded quarterback under pressure according to PFF. Bo Nix is 33rd out of 39 quarterbacks.
If you take out the first 2 weeks, he's like 92 score.
But Jayden Daniels all year, I mean, his best play of the season was under pressure against the Bengals Monday Night Football.
It was.
Like Jayden Daniels, that's a question mark I had about him coming into the league, and he has been awesome.
You could
under
argue
pressure.
Bo Nix's best play was under pressure as well against the Chiefs on 3rd down to Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, no, like Bo Nix has had some awesome moments. I'm not going to say he hasn't. But Jayden Daniels has been better under pressure for the entirety of the season. Turnover-worthy players, they're tied. Big-time throws, they're tied. Advanced stats, Jayden has the lead because higher EPA per play, higher success rate, better under pressure. Now let's go into team offensive ranks. The Commanders are a top 5 offense in football. The Broncos are the 20th ranked offense in football right now. So offensive ranks, Commanders, Jayden, he gets the lead. Now, quarterback wins. I mean, wins are not a quarterback stat in my opinion, but people love to use wins. Wins, who has more wins? It's the Commanders. Jayden has the Commanders at 7-4.
But that's also a little Mickey Mouse because he started the game versus the Panthers, if I'm not mistaken.
So he's 6-4 instead of 7-4.
Correct.
Okay. So
no, but Mariota went in and dimed them.
No, he did.
Jayden was going to win that game.
Of course he was. Of course.
Team
but
record,
I'm saying he got the win because he started to drive.
I respect that.
So
you need
team
that,
record
that shit dropped.
is Commanders. So when I look at basic stats, advanced stats, team offense, wins, it's Jayden clean sweep. It's 4-0.
Jalen Carter was the defensive rookie of the year, locked and loaded at week 8. Was it week 8, week 9? And then Will Anderson came out of nowhere and was able to snatch it.
The first 8 weeks, Jalen Carter was a dope.
Agreed. And the first few weeks, I'm not even going to argue. Yeah. Even when we sat here and talked about the top 5 rookies,
he flopped bad.
I said, come on, it's still Jayden, but I don't want to hear anybody else but Bo Nix after that. Since week 5, Bo Nix and Jayden Daniels, it has been a fucking horse race, and each horse is slowly but surely taking the lead. But Bo Nix, since that point, and I'm fine with what you're saying. Let's use the whole season because it's fair. Jayden Daniels does have the better numbers. But since week 5, Bo Nix has been a better quarterback. Because, again, they're rookies. They're rookies. And, again, it takes a little bit longer. Maybe it's a little bit shorter for other quarterbacks. But since that time span, Bo Nix has been amazing.
I think Bo Nix has been really good. One of my favorite things just in the NFL and sports in general, I love when someone struggles, man. That's my favorite part. If you don't struggle, I don't want you. If you're someone that comes out the gate week 1,
he's cooking.
Dog, I don't want you.
He's not even lying. He's being a little
struggle.
sarcastic, but I know him. He's not lying.
I want you to struggle because Bo Nix's start of the year was bad.
We want you to historically struggle and then rise up.
Yes, exactly.
The cream rises to the top.
All your quarterbacks do that. Caleb AR. Yeah.
He was because Bo Nix's start of the year was ass. Some guys don't always come back. Bo Nix was ass to start the year. That Saints game felt like the pinnacle of assness. I was like, yo, this is a dude that's not startable.
Yeah.
And then these last like 3-4 weeks, he's turned it around. And he's been more than a serviceable quarterback. I think the one thing that's going to, if anything, screws Bo Nix, because I think right now it's wide open. I think Jayden Daniels, Bo Nix, and Brock Bowers, those are the three that I look at that have a real chance
100%.
of doing it. The only when I compare this to last year's race, because I think it's similar, because you had CJ Stroud and then you had the receiver who's like putting historical numbers up in Puka Nacua. I think the biggest difference to me is that CJ Stroud last year was dominant. Like CJ Stroud was out there, touchdown interception ratio, 100 passer rating, won the division, made the playoffs. I think Bo Nix and Jayden do that too, but winning the division, of course, you have KC, so maybe that's not fair. But CJ Stroud was so damn good for that Texans team that, I mean, first time head coach, first time play caller, all of this shit going on felt like, okay, he did on the field plus kind of reset the culture of that Texans team. It's fair to give it to him. I think Brock Bowers has a chance this year to be a position player to win it, because you go into this Raiders situation, terrible quarterback. Gardner Minshew, fucking Aiden O'Connell, Desmond Ritter's probably going to start at some point in this season as well. And then to start the year, you have target competition with Devontae Adams. You still dog. Devontae Adams gets traded. You're just as good, if not better. You're on pace for 120 fucking receptions. You're on pace for 1,200 yards. You're going to have an historic rookie season for a tight end. And like Drew mentioned, you might break the reception record for all rookies.
He's insane.
So I think Brock Bowers has as good of a chance as anyone, especially compared to like Puka from last season. I do think Bo Nix and Jayden, though, it's a toss-up right now. I think where we stand right now, it's a 50-50 chance. But I do think Bo Nix is going to have to be exceptional for him to win the award. Because Jayden Daniels is the top 2 pick. He played at LSU. Everyone saw him dog. So everyone almost expected him to come to the league and be like, you should be maybe not dominant because there was questions, but we're expecting you to be a superstar. You were drafted top 2. Bo Nix, like you mentioned, he's an older prospect, right? He moved around to a couple different schools. I still think that kind of agenda around them exists to the point that it has to be clear and obvious that Bo Nix is outperforming Jayden, because if they're on the same level, I think they're just going to give it to Jayden because of the highly touted prospect, number 2 overall pick. That's where I think that goes. And if Drake May would have played all 17 games, shit, I think it would have been his award.
But do you think that weighs into voters' opinions? I think that when it comes to people that talk about the sport, maybe they'll be a little bit more hesitant to give him the praise, like we've seen already with Bo Nix.
I think agendas move voters.
Yeah.
I just think what Riff said was pretty sound. I mean, the Commanders have won off the strength of their offense. And the defense has came to life recently, but, the Broncos defense was doing a lot of heavy lifting in those 5 weeks of the season. And then the offense started to play better and they started to pick it up. And I think a lot of that is, early on in the season, Sean Payton was not putting the training wheels on Bo Nix at all. He said, listen, we're going to see what the hell you can do. And we're going to see what you can do and what you can't do. And when he saw he struggled with certain things, he said, okay, we're going to play around your strengths. And that's what's been happening.
It's a great coach.
Yes, exactly. And I think the Panthers game was the pinnacle of his performance. I thought he had the best throws in that game. I just don't get too involved with the box score. I mean, you are talking to somebody that after Tua had a 500-yard, 5-touchdown game, I still didn't call him a franchise quarterback.
Am I talking about the box score?
No, I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying that I don't do that. And with Bo Nix, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. You look at the performance against the Falcons. That Sunday night, I didn't watch the game real time. I was watching other games in that moment, but then I ended up watching it later on at night. And yes, I went into that game with an open mind. Like, let's see how great this performance was. I didn't go into it trying to look for these bad Bo Nix plays. No, I went into it with an open mind. And Bo Nix made some awesome plays over the middle field, beyond the sticks. That's where an area of growth for him. But I also look at the 3 touchdowns he had at first. 2 of them were screenplays. One was on 3rd and goal. One was a 2nd and goal. They were screenplays. Like,
it's like the exact same play, too.
Taking what the defense...
She Rice score how many of those?
Taking what the defense gives you, is that the quarterback taking what the defense gives you? That's just the play call that was called. That's just a screenplay. And then the touchdown to the tight end that was schemed up for him to just like get out into open space.
The little Jordan Humphrey touchdown was a nice play.
That was the best throw.
Yeah.
The best throw was to Vel over the middle of the field.
That throw was nice too, but Bo Nix rolling to his left, throwing across the body.
You watch the all 22 and you watch the angle of the ball just going straight. The 2 defenders kind of meeting in the middle, it getting through them.
I'm moving with them. I'm moving with the off-platform.
I don't blame, but that's what he does. He's been doing that, whether for better or for worse, early in the season for worse, but for better now, where he trusts himself to make these off-platform throws. His creation ability too. That's something that we've been giving him credit for all season, but now it's being met with also in structure, in the pocket, still winning there. 7 for 8 on throws beyond the sticks this past game as well. So we look at the A-dot at 4 yards, and that's really what's getting harped on. But when the number was called for him to air it out, in 8 attempts, 7 of them were completed. He played an amazing game.
I don't think he really had any mistakes. Like, I watched the film back last night. There was like maybe 1 or 2 throws that's like, maybe you go to this read. But for the most part, like even the A-dot shit, like the couple of checkdowns he had, was like, no one's fucking open.
That's
you know what I mean? So I thought for the most part, played a clean game.
Bo Nix was awesome in the game. Nobody's saying he wasn't awesome. But my bigger takeaway from the game really was just the Falcons' defense.
It's terrible. We've known that, though.
Yeah, no, we've known the Falcons' defense was bad.
Bo Nix, I mean, shit, bro. You could put that fucking, hang that shit up.
I mean, bro, it's not like
it
it took a rocks. My start of the week this week was who? Bo Nix. The Falcons' defense we've known. It's terrible.
It's not that just we know the Falcons' defense is terrible, but that showing was on a different level.
Like Bo Nix performed against the Chiefs. But that should have been something for us to be like, okay, against the Falcons, yeah, he should execute and play high-level football.
Yeah, and I thought he would play well. It wasn't a surprise to me. I'm just saying, my bigger takeaway from watching the game, I'm like, oh, wow, the Falcons are really this bad. Like, I think the Falcons are in real danger of losing the NFC South because the Buccaneers are getting healthy with Mike Evans. Like the Falcons
is still
the Falcons are the biggest fraud in the NFC playoff picture right now.
I don't disagree.
And whoever comes out of the NFC South is a fraud. I'll be honest.
Yeah. The Bucs got the best chance. They actually, I think, have some belief in them. No, but they got more talent than the Falcons. I mean, listen, Raheem Morris, he has no pass rush. They didn't blitz Bo Nix at all. Like, yeah, you look at the pockets that Bo Nix was operating in. Man. They were like 3 to 4 second pockets. Like, you know what I mean?
Only
crazy.
To talk about my Broncos, can we figure out who's the running back? I'm bagging. Javonte Williams gets 1 carry versus Kansas City.
Hot hands. Javante's got it. Javonte. Vesme's got it. Esme.
Bro, it blows mine. It's like
Beatty's coming back. I saw.
Yeah, that's exciting.
He was nice for like a week or two before he
got
hurt,
OD.
Right?
That is exciting. But at the same time, Audric is a big body.
Yeah.
He fumbles the ball. That's his one blemish. Like, he needs to do a better job of protecting the ball. But my brain's all scattered when it comes to the Broncos. I just get excited. Troy Franklin, if he works on his hands, he's going to be a great receiver. Mm-hmm. He has one of the best separation rates in the NFL right now. It's just a matter of him holding on to the ball.
He's had a couple bad drops this year.
The drops have killed because he's also robbed my boy of some successful throws. Sometimes that matters, apparently.
Yeah, Bo Nix has lost the most EPA on drops this year.
So once we clean that up, once we get him more weapons, Sean Payne's already been vocal about it. I'm so excited for I haven't been this excited since Russell Wilson got traded to the Broncos.
You were moved heavily.
But now it's real because I'm watching my team play well and my quarterback play well with weapons that have been passable. Sutton has been carrying a lot of that.
Velez decent.
He's cute.
Decent for sure.
He's cute. I like what I've been seeing at him, and Troy Franklin can clean up the drops. I like what we're trending towards. I think that we do address the running back situation in this draft, but I hope that it's not a first-round pick. If we take Gianti, I'll be upset.
Yeah. I mean, if you scheme up those plays for Marvin Mims,
you keep telling me that, and I'm all right with that. What were you saying, King?
As long as you keep scheming up those plays for Marvin Mims out the backfield, and you got a coverage bust, then
finally Sean's learning.
Yards.
I have one of the fastest players in the league. Let's get him the rock.
Yeah, that was honestly that and the 3rd and goal screen touchdown that they allowed was honestly the most ridiculous plays I saw from the defense. Like Marvin Mims went untouched, unscathed. Like 50 yards of just running downfield. No, it's pretty ridiculous. But Jayden Daniels' schedule is also pretty easy.
It's relatively easy too. Does have the Eagles also.
The Cowboys, Titans, Saints, Eagles, Falcons, Cowboys.
Titans he should do well against, especially because recently,
teams that he shouldn't play well against. I think the Titans and Eagles. That's it.
He won't play well against us.
Cowboys sneaky just because they're getting healthy. They can get pressure on them.
They suck.
They do. They do. Their rush defense is terrible. I don't know if it'll be more of a Brian Robinson.
Is that one in Dallas?
I believe it. It's week 18.
They suck. They're so bad.
It's one.
I mean, they faced them both times, so they faced them twice.
Yet,
They're gonna play them on the road.
You know what it is? That's what it is. Week 18. Then Dallas is home week 18.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean.
So I told you.
So they're the only ones that haven't played yet.
I didn't go basic stats. I could have. I was ready to. I decided not to.
Good shit, boy. Good shit.
My guy's been.
Yo, I've been locked in.
You have, and I'm happy for that.
Broncos country. I've been here, bro.
You have been.
You've been on my Eagles.
The only thing I'll say is because when we spoke about last show, when we talked about the two teams that would make it, you went Chargers and Bengals. I had to check you real quick. I was like, yo, my Broncos? And you're like, shit.
I forgot.
So we're here.
Yeah, Chargers and Broncos.
I'm cool
I
with
hate
that.
the Bengals. I just forgot about it.
Yeah, it's all good.
It is. But look, you've been on my Eagles. I've been on your
Oh,
Denver.
come on. We're here. Listen,
here.
it's something about when you and I
Lock in,
link.
bro. Listen.
Yo.
Except Jayden
It's been
Green.
special. That son of a bitch, man. Yo, you're done?
I'm not done, but
Like I said, I think we just got to ride until it's over.
we've been riding. Brother ain't been, feel me? Like,
The
train
finish is elite.
We're losing bodies here.
Bro, the jump shot, let's get to the median.
We've been on Houston. They've been winning. So
They're moving the shit out of me.
Winning a playoff game.
Now,
Amen, Tari, that's basically you and I.
I tried to tell
I'm
you.
Tari, you're, yo.
I tried to tell you about
I've been known. What are you talking about? Don't do that. Don't do that. Dude.
You didn't know.
Bro.
When I used to glaze him, you used to laugh.
That's cap because I love Scoot. But
when did you become a Tari Eason guy?
when I
Now.
spoke about, facts. No, but we've known. When I spoke about Rockets on the last basketball podcast,
Now.
had to highlight them because I was asking real or fake. I said that defense is real. Because Tari and Amen have been holding it down.
When we gonna start?
They have
man?
been two of the stars of the defensive season
Bench
so far.
Jabari Smith.
Jabari needs to go. And honestly, it's trending towards the direction of our boy having to sit down.
Who?
Jalen.
Nah, we could just trade Jalen Green and Jabari Smith for Devin Booker.
Trade dead weight. Let me get your star. My
Five
goodness.
first.
Now there was two big news that came out of New York. Joe Douglas got fired and Daniel Jones got benched. Daniel Jones
we're talking
breakout
about
season of 22 total touchdowns because he
This
got
week
to
in the
add
NFL.
7 rushing touchdowns.
Wow.
Yeah. Good job. 22.
love that.
Breakout season of
Rushing touchdowns
22
matter.
touchdowns.
Rushing
Yo,
touchdowns
that moved
matter.
me.
What happened? I
Yo,
think
for the
it was
first
It's
time,
always 15 passing touchdowns.
it's now he gets benched and won a playoff game. Can't forget that, man.
Yeah, I mean,
This is it.
this is the
The
thing.
year I wrote for him, we won a playoff game.
Since
I won.
2023, now you wrote from the year they also
He tore his
got-
ACL.
They was ass before
Tore his
that.
ACL.
They were dog shit.
Since
Offensive line was worse than
2023, Daniel Jones has had 10 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. He's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. And
Easily.
I think the nail in the coffin was the Panthers game. He was awful.
He was shit.
Dog shit.
There's some Giants players that are coming out and saying, "Oh, you know,
Dexter Lawrence
it's a
was- yeah, one of
financial thing." Listen, yes, of course, it's a financial
Right.
thing. You don't want to pay a bad quarterback going into next year. Like, yes, you gotta move on from him.
No,
And
Daniel was sick.
when they cut Daniel Jones, they're eating some dead cap. It's not a lot. They're saving 19 mil. Dead cap is 22 mil, so they're losing 3 mil in total. But they're gonna have a lot of cap space. They're probably gonna have a high draft pick. They just got to move on from Daniel Jones. And listen, that 1 year where they made the playoffs was awesome for them.
magic.
It was a lot of energy in New York, and unfortunately, that led to them paying Daniel Jones. Like, Daniel Jones getting that contract has set back the organization
got my boy
a
paid.
couple years.
That's crazy.
And that's the danger when you don't have a rookie quarterback and you are a year ahead of your rebuild. You overachieve, because the Giants were in a rebuild. And then they made the playoffs, and now they're in a rebuild again 2 years later because essentially that playoff run was a waste of time.
You could also argue, whereas as much as Daniel's fault, the organization not picking up his 5th year, because you were going to give him that wait and see regardless, right? You pick up that 5th year, now it's really a show me what you can do. Because that 4th year was the one where they went on that playoff run.
thought it was
You
gonna be
kind of
ass.
shot yourself in the foot. They did, but then it ended up really screwing them.
and Brian Dable saved them. I remember go after the playoff game. I don't know if you guys remember when we previewed the Giants. I gave you this stat. It was that outside of the red zone, Daniel Jones was like last in EPA per play.
They got there. He was a dog.
In the red zone, he was like one of the 5 best quarterbacks. But like the entire 80 yards of the field, he was still one of the worst.
Always will stay in my mind that drive versus the Green Bay Packers in Europe when Saquon's off the field and he goes 90 yards and scores a touchdown to give them the lead or to tie the game after they were down double digits, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, so long, Daniel.
He sucks, man.
Your
Bring Shedeur.
your
Shedor's coming to
time
New York, man.
in New York.
Actually,
to
both
Giants
of them are going to be
fans,
gone.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Jones and Aaron Rodgers. Damn.
Oh, it's the battle of who could be more dog shit, and I think like Aaron Rodgers is definitely like just squeaking over, but really it's horrendous times.
Yo,
in New
he's
York.
actually shit.
Like it's crazy. Like you ever think in your life that you'd be hearing like, "Yo, is Aaron Rodgers? Is he better? Is he better than Daniel?
He's washed.
Like
That shit crazy.
he might be better,
Yo,
but
like it's like no,
it-
like real shit. Like
how
17
much?
touchdowns, 7 interceptions this year.
When they got Tay, bro, I
Oh,
thought
so
shit
we're
was
cool
gonna
to
move.
box score watch now.
No, Aaron at his worst is still like clearing Daniel Jones.
Oh my God, can you have some fun?
No, no.
Clearing
Because
ass.
your team has 3 wins, the Giants have 2. It's still bad.
Wait, what?
And, it's been terrible. It's been really fucking bad. But no, it's
Let's
all right.
still have 3 wins?
Because
3 and 8.
when you talk about
Bye week. Needed this.
certain
Mental
things we
reset.
get to use box scores. Certain things we get to use box scores. I didn't get to do it with Bo Nix. We got to
could've
do
did
it
it.
with Aaron Rodgers.
It's
I didn't
option.
want to. I didn't want to. That's
No,
not
the
me.
thing is
Because
that-
we can
Aaron Rodgers
do we
or
want
Bo
to
Nix?
get analytical?
After the Sunday game, there was a bunch of tweets. Bo Nix, historic performance. First quarterback to do this
they
in
could- they couldn't
history.
wait.
Do we want to get analytical? I think I'd love to get
I
analytical
was looking
because.
forward to talking about Daniel Jones.
Let's get analytical.
Okay.
Because Aaron
Jets
Rodgers,
locked on
17
Jets.
touchdowns, 7 INTs.
Locked on Jets.
But 21st in
We
EPA.
got that.
Team
I can't wait
stat.
to talk about Joe Douglas.
28th in success rate. 29th in completion percentage. Mr. Accurate. He's 30th in completion percentage over expected.
What's Daniel Jones? EPA?
Him or
Oh,
Deshaun
he's
Watson?
dog shit. I don't have to worry
All
about
I'm saying
Daniel
is that Aaron Rodgers has been
didn't get
better than
that
Daniel Jones.
It's been close.
No,
in those
it has not been close
regards.
at all.
like Derek Carr
It has not been
company.
close.
Okay.
at all.
Oh my God! No,
I have to see how low the bar
when Aaron
is.
Rodgers is in the group with even still right now, because beginning of the season still counts for these stats.
Yep.
You have Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones. When you're in that CJ's low.
Stroud.
CJ's low.
He's not having a good year.
He was like 26
His last 4 have been nasty.
in EPA / completion percentage over expected.
Get
Yo,
Bobby
it's
out of
low.
there, man.
You think Bo Nix has been playing better than CJ Stroud?
This season.
Last 5, probably.
Since October started, yeah.
probably.
Do I think he's been playing better?
There's 2. He has like 2
he's
stinkers this
been
month.
bad.
It's just been.
Who's better? CJ. Who's been playing better? Bo. He has.
I don't even think CJ's been playing that bad.
Now he has like
has
2
some-
really bad stinkers. Like I
The
think
Jets game was bad.
The Packers
Jets game was
was
bad.
bad.
The
Packers game
Lions
was
game
bad.
was bad.
Packers game
It
was-
was objectively
The
bad.
Packers game was his worst game of the season.
And did you
The Lions
see?
game, yeah.
People have been critical of Tank Dell since week 6. If I'm not mistaken, 6th in.
He's not a number 1. Right?
No, but he's been winning. Is what I'm about
Now,
to say.
CJ Stroud missed Tank Dell multiple times in that Jets game. Like, why the
Oh,
fuck
here we
open?
go. 6th in separation, 1st in route win rate since week 6. Yo, Tank's been really good. CJ just needs to
Sophomore
lock
slump.
in.
We'll get back
it's,
at it third
It's
year.
mostly Sloak and the offensive line. That's what it mostly is.
Some
but
games,
CJ
yeah.
definitely is not
He missed his
clear of
throws
blame.
too. Yeah.
That he had Tank touchdown, but yeah, it's because again, I really don't care about the Giants. Giants season has been horrendous. The offense is horrendous. Daniel Jones, they're going to move on to another quarterback, whether it's Cam, whether it's Shedeur, and they're going to have a miserable time as well. But they'll
Well,
probably give you
shit
better.
gonna be lit when Shedeur get there.
Oh, and hopefully Andrew Thomas can stay healthy because it obviously changes the entire landscape
be a
of
move.
what your offense is allowed to do. But you still have to overhaul this team. You have to get a number 2 next to Malik.
It's not that many holes on the roster.
I don't disagree too much, but the left tackle, Andrew Thomas,
have
not
money to
being
sign T.
reliable.
Higgins?
There's some DB help.
Do they have money?
Drew
I feel
Phillips
like-
has been one of the best corners
Newman
this
actually
year.
was
Arguably
been
been
good,
the yeah.
He's been great. Say it again.
Newbin, the safety.
Oh yeah, first is it Andrew Newman?
There's a lot of corners that are playing well.
Newbin.
Renardo Green with San Fran right now. There's like a ton of dudes that are really balling out right now at corner.
Speak
for
on
rookies.
Cam Taylor-Britt getting benched for Newitt.
Well, I've been talking about he's been the worst corner in football since like week 3.
He has.
So
He has. No, the whole team sucks. But
That shit crazy, bro.
is there
Yeah,
anything else
that's
for me to
crazy.
say about them? Also, the last thing I'll say, they're saying Dable is coaching for his job the last few weeks of the
that's
season.
silly.
I think that is egregious. Oh my god!
what are you doing?
No, I respect the fucking get Kellen Moore out of there.
I'm on my
Dable be-
Lakers shit. I want everybody.
Nah,
Dable's getting a head coaching
Bring
job
us
if he gets
everybody,
fired.
bro.
man.
Like,
the thing, it says Pan Daniel Jones. You lost Xavier McKinney, Saquon Barkley, and Julian Love. Imagine if the Giants had that safety duo with the talent they have right now.
Running
that,
back's
bro.
been
We
far
saw-
from
we
their
saw
issue
in
this
the,
year, though.
In the
But
Hard
still,
Knocks
Saquon.
offseason shit, fucking Joe Shane's like, I'm not paying a $40 million quarterback to pay a $14 million running back. You don't have a $40 million quarterback. You just happen to pay a $10 million quarterback $40 million. So, I mean, it fucked
no,
them up
watching
for
that
years.
was hilarious.
And then the last thing with the New York
Herbert's a
shit.
$50 million man, and he doesn't have a playoff win. Stop.
Herbert clears.
The biggest news with New York is that Joe Douglas got fired, and honestly, like people are over here. Woody Johnson's a terrible owner. Nobody's saying
Worst owner in
otherwise.
football right now.
Obviously, he's a bad owner. Why the fuck are we acting like Joe Douglas was good? Like he had his moments.
Bro, we're not talking
I was going to say,
we were in the group chat last night. You were saying, bro, should fire
he was high and he was all like,
You know what happened?
Edible.
You know what happened? Sometimes you have to understand.
slept on it.
You have to understand your sources. So the Athletic wrote an
You saw
article.
the Manish shit?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
So the Athletic wrote an article. Zach Rosenblatt and Diana Rossini, they wrote.
First of all,
the
they hate the
title
Jets.
of the article was "Why Joe Douglas Never Stood a Chance as Jets GM."
That's a good
Then
title.
you look at the entire article. It didn't talk about anything Joe Douglas did bad. It just talked about all the fucking terrible shit Woody Johnson did. So in the group chat, what I was talking about was just how terrible Woody Johnson was.
Sucks.
But then obviously the sourcing, the further article probably came from Joe Douglas and him just trying to defend himself and defend his name. That's valid. But when you look at Joe Douglas, he had one draft class that was good. 2020 was bad.
Elite.
2021 was bad. He drafted a bunch of great players like Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall in one draft class, and that's carried him for the most part. I don't think his drafting has been horrible, but the free agent acquisitions have been awful. Like this, Joe Douglas, when he got hired as GM for the Jets, he had a chance to pick his head coach, any head coach he wanted. He picked Robert Saleh. And Robert Saleh, no matter what anybody says, now that Robert Saleh's fired, and yes, I think he would have given the Jets a better chance to win. Everybody in the offseason, the number one thing people talked about was how terrible the Jets head coach was. So Robert Saleh, he picked the wrong head coach, and he got to pick his quarterback with the second overall pick, and he missed on both. By the way, his first draft, he got to pick his left tackle to retool the offensive line. He picked Mekhi Becton over Tristan Wirfs. By the way, the second overall pick he used on Zach Wilson very well could have traded back, drafted Penei Sewell, and kept Sam Darnold. Didn't do that either.
That's tough. That's hard to put on him, dude.
I'm just saying.
Was Mekhi Becton wrong because of talent or injuries?
It was a little bit of both. Okay. I mean, he's a guard now. So he's not even playing left tackle.
Our tackles are.
You're talking about his misses, which is fair.
Talk about
bad
his
ones. He's got some fucking bangers.
One draft.
Drafted Will McDonald.
The misses definitely outweigh the hits.
Jermaine, obviously Garrett, Breece, Sauce.
That's one draft. Was fucking elite.
Oh my fucking
outside
goodness.
of Will McDonald was
doing that one draft is nuts.
That was after.
I love Will McDonald. Don't get me wrong. I love Will McDonald.
Will McDonald was.
We
questioned that.
We fit that night.
We all did.
I know. Could have had Zay Flowers.
I still would rather
JSN.
I still 100%.
Will McDonald's one of the league leaders in sacks.
I still would rather JSN.
But that's all he can do.
His rush blocking
stop the run, bro.
But
he cannot.
I'm not going to say you don't need to be good at both. You need to be good at both.
First round pick.
He's a fair.
Jordan
also in an article,
it's a good point.
It was like Joe Douglas was ready to pay Bryce Huff.
Didn't he bring Quincy Williams too?
Yes.
Quincy Williams, nobody knew it was gonna be that. It's more a developmental thing.
God give him his flowers.
That's 100%. Bro, he was a backup in Jacksonville.
Michael Carter too.
Yeah. He's had some hits.
20. I'm naming a lot.
20% though, man. We could go full drafts.
Good drafts.
There's players not in the league.
But the majority of GMs also miss on a lot of picks.
Not like Joe Douglas, bro.
He picked a quarterback in the 4th round because he was smart. James Morgan.
Yeah.
He's not in the league.
Yeah. I don't know who that is.
I think the Joe Douglas shit's funny.
Shut up.
He never fixed the offensive line. That's number one. He never
this year has not been a problem in considering what people have tried to say.
This is the thing, and this is why stats sometimes can be misleading. The Jets have a good pass blocking offensive line grade. Aaron Rodgers is top 5 in quickest time to throw. He's not having long dropbacks. The offensive line is not tasked to block for a long period of time because anytime it has been. Yeah, Rodgers has been under instant pressure.
I still think, though, he's got talent. Like, Tippmann was good last year. He's been good this year. Morgan Moses has been a big upgrade. ABT when he's healthy. Olu last week, first game playing left tackle, that was pretty solid, too. The other area he fucked up, this defensive line. Like, he completely botched his defensive line. You traded JFM for nothing. You paid Javon Kinlaw basically like the same contract, if not more than what JFM was getting paid after his restructured contract. Javon Kinlaw is ass. Like, no disrespect, but like he got that money because he was a first-round pick like 5 years ago. And all of a sudden, you trade for Hassan Reddick. That shit didn't work out. Yeah. Jermaine goes down, and now you're like, you got fucking Michael Clemens starting on one side, who is one of the worst starters in the NFL. You have Will McDonald on the other side, who is a phenomenal pass rusher. He cannot stop the run for shit. Now you have Quentin Williams and really like no one to play next to him at this point. It's Javon fucking Kinlaw, who's a negative. So I don't know. I think it is pretty funny because I know the Jets are a laughingstock. I know the Jets are a mess. I know Woody Johnson's one of the worst owners in all of sports. I would not expect non-Jets fans to put it on the ownership, right? Like, because you see not just that article, but like Daniel Jeremiah, who's friends with Joe Douglas, don't get me wrong. You see other people at ESPN and shit basically say like Joe Douglas never had a chance. Like, oh, the ownership was always fucked up. for sure. Like, absolutely, I don't disagree. Joel just laid it out, man. You had your choice at head coach. You had your choice at quarterback. You got another choice at quarterback when you went and got Aaron Rodgers. Last season, when Aaron Rodgers went down, you stuck with Zach Wilson. You went into the season knowing you had holes at wide receiver too because Mike Williams coming off a torn ACL. You know this defensive line is super fucking thin. There were still issues with this team. Like, the talent was definitely there. Again, safety. We've had a good fucking safety since we traded Jamal Adams, although we fleeced them. Safety position's been a fucking mess all of Joe Douglas's tenure so far as GM. So I mean, I get it. Like, he definitely had a great draft class. You guys know I was a fan of Joe Douglas, but 6 years. The man was 30 and 64. How you stand up here and be like, yeah, man, I don't know, like, it's just fucking Woody Johnson. Like, you had 6 seasons. Like, the one thing you cannot say about the Jets, you can say a lot, they are not impatient. They are not impatient. They gave Joe Douglas 6 full seasons as GM, and it didn't work out. They gave Adam Gase 2 years. Should not have given him that second year. Robert Saleh had questions coming into this year. Maybe you fired him a bit prematurely. You had Todd Bowles there for 4 or 5 seasons. Like, Woody has tried to give people long leashes. It's just been the wrong guys.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Is like, the article said Woody Johnson is like a meddling owner or whatever. Like, yeah, okay, I can agree with that to a certain extent. But if you hired a GM, you're paying this dude, and he's in his 6th season as a GM. He has a record of 30 and 64.
Hard to keep around.
You are going to start looking over his shoulder like, what the fuck are you doing?
And for the most part, all of the shit that came out in that article was from this past season. Yeah. Because in the past, the Jets have had issues in terms of like the hierarchy of the organization where the head coach, usually in most well-run organizations, the head coach reports to the GM reports to the owner, the GM and the head coach, they, work in tandem. For the most part of Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas' tenure, like, this is how it was, right? When it was like Adam Gase and fucking McCagan, that's not how it was. But this, I actually did it right because it was Saleh reporting to Joe reporting to Woody. But this past season, when it kind of felt like you're all in or nothing, that's when Woody started sticking his toes in the Hassan Reddick deal, the Bryce Huff not giving him the bread, the Jerry Jeudy trade that Douglas wanted to do, which honestly probably the best that he didn't make that trade.
God, they do pay.
But
you know
I
what's
really
funny,
do
Dehls?
think it was this
Like,
season.
I expect national media to get shit on the Jets wrong. Oh, you drafted fucking Sauce Gardner, all these fucking all pros. He's so
Ahmad?
good. Who's so good? All these dudes, right?
His name is Ahmad.
It's a mod
whatever,
from here on out.
whatever.
He's no longer
Ahmad Gardner.
Whatever. But yeah, you draft all these dudes. Like, nobody knows about fucking Jabari Zuniga. That was a fucking
Hey,
that was a
shout out to
bust.
Florida,
That was
man.
They
don't know about LaMichael P.
Joe
Ryan.
Douglas
No,
drafted.
we know
Florida.
about LaMichael.
We don't. What
They
about
don't know fucking-
anybody criticizing the Denzel Mims pick? Nobody's saying
You
shit about
loved
that.
him.
Elijah
I
Moore?
did love Denzel Mims,
Wait, no,
but he was a
no.
bust.
Elijah Moore was a good pick.
Oh,
With
He
Joe
was a bust,
Flacco.
though. He was a bust.
No,
He was a bust.
No, you can't get away
Just
with
because I
that.
like him doesn't mean he's not a bust.
No,
He's supposed to know more than me. He's a GM.
You praised that pick. You can't do that.
No, but
you
still,
can't.
he's the
Hold up.
GM.
Yeah.
He's supposed
Let's
to know.
go through Joe Douglas every single draft he did.
Oh God.
His first year,
What year?
2020.
2020. Okay.
Mekhi Becton, Denzel Mims, Ashton Davis, Jabari Zuniga,
Ashton
LaMichael P.
Davis.
Ryan, James Morgan, Cameron Clark, Bryce Hall, Braden Mann.
Fun fact: Ashton Davis I used for you when I make Madden characters.
Okay.
Yo,
Yeah.
Bryce Hall was not the worst player I ever seen.
That's literally like that's
Braden
no
Mann's the
hits.
punter for the Eagles now, I believe,
Yes.
right? I mean, most of these guys are
He's
out of the
cool.
league or not
At
playing.
their intended position, they're not even starters. Mekhi Becton's playing right guard now.
2021,
He's a
Zach
depth
Wilson,
piece.
AVT, solid. Elijah Moore off the team. Michael Carter, the running back. Jamie Sherwood, who this season, he was a DB. He converted to linebackers, having a decent year. Michael Carter, the linebacker, solid. Jason Pinnock, they let go to the Giants. Hamza Nazaruddin, yes.
Yeah.
Brandon Eccles, Jonathan Marshall. 2022, elite. Sauce, Garrett, Jermaine, Brees. But then in round 2, Jeremy Rucker, Max Mitchell, Michael Clemens. None of those dudes
Literally
can play.
missed on all those guys.
2023, Will McDonald, Joe Tittman. Both of those look solid, but then Carter Warren, Israel Bondaconda, Zaire Barnes, Jarek Bernard Converse, Zach Kuntz. And then this 2024 draft, you take Olu in round 1. He's looked solid. Mekhi Corley, who has not been involved in the offense.
And Joe
yeah, the
Douglas-
clip was bad.
And Joe Douglas celebrated A.D. Mitchell getting drafted. And he's way better than Malachi Corley.
Braylon Allen, who I think has been solid. Jordan Travis, They took fucking Isaiah Davis in round 5, another running back. When you have Breece Hall, you just drafted Braylon Allen, you drafted a running back the year before, need another running back. Stiggers, cornerback from like the XFL or some shit, and then Jalen Key.
Drafting the XFL players.
I mean,
You
bro,
know what, I don't even think the drafts have been the worst. I think the free agent
Canadian
signings have been the
League,
worst. This is
maybe.
the last thing I'll say on it. The signings that he's
like a
hit.
butt fucking of the Jets.
DJ Reed, Quincy Williams, JFM, John Simpson. I think those have been his by far biggest hits at free agent signings.
What about Aaron Rodgers?
As a trade.
I'll tell you what, man. He could trade. He could trade.
Fucking miss.
He could trade. That's one thing he could do.
He could definitely
Yeah, no, he
fucking
can trade. Okay. These were the free agent signings that Joe Douglas has made throughout his tenure. Laken Tomlinson, Keelan Cole, Pierre Desir, Brian Poole, Greg Van Roten, Brashard Perriman, Dwayne Brown, Quan Alexander, Gerard
half of these
Davis.
people.
When he signed Gerard Davis, that was his
hour.
first offseason. It was a 1 hour special on just talking about this motherfucking backup from the Lions. Okay? CJ Uzama, Corey Davis, Carl Lawson, McCole Hardman. These have been his free agent signings.
McCall Harmon sucks.
Corey Davis was supposed to go to the
Carl
moon.
Lawson, unlucky to him.
Yo, bro,
Tore
I
his
don't know
Achilles.
half of those players you just named.
And then the Bengals replaced Carl Lawson with Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, and they reaped the rewards of that. No, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, Joe Douglas, listen, he had his time.
Sound like he misses 80% of the time.
He didn't do a good enough job. I mean, 29 teams in the NFL have won 8 games or more since Joe Douglas has become the Jets GM. The Jets are one of those teams that have not won 8 games or more. So, you know,
He was cooked.
It's about time. You know, you're not going to keep a dude who's losing this much a 7th season. It just doesn't make sense. So I don't know why everybody's so
wait for the
surprised.
offseason.
You know, it's not removing blame from this dude.
So who you guys gonna hire now?
Freaking Woody Johnson, but still, I
And
don't
then
know.
this other part to it, there's a reporter, Manish Mehta, I believe it's pronounced. He's someone that reported on the Jets years ago. And him and Joe Douglas got into some weird type of feud because Manish, like, followed his son or his nephew to, like, a soccer game. Some really weird shit. Regardless, Manish, like, hasn't been around for years, hasn't been on Twitter. He reactivated his Twitter yesterday when Joe Douglas got fired and leaked his phone number and put it on Twitter and said, "Here's Joe Douglas, go hit him up."
What the
Shit was crazy.
What the hell?
Yeah, people are so
Another
weird.
day at the office, man. What do we got next?
Yeah, I have these stats to share. It's how to fix the Bengals. I think it's going to be pretty quick because we know the defense is a problem. I just really want to share these stats. Through the first 11 games, Joe Burrow has 3,028 passing yards, 27 touchdowns,
This is a
4
glazed
interceptions. This is interesting.
We like Burrow now. Sorry.
This is the most craziest stat you're going to find on the Cincinnati Bengals this season on the internet.
Let's do it.
Players to achieve 3,000 plus passing yards, 27 plus touchdowns, and 4 or fewer interceptions through the first 11 games, along with their team's final records. Tom Brady, 2007 and 2015, went 16-0 and 13-3. Aaron Rodgers in 2011 and 2020 went 15-1 and 13-3. Patrick Mahomes in 2020 went 14-2. Drew Brees in 2018 went 13-3. Joe Burrow's having a statistical profile similar to all these quarterbacks, and the Bengals are 4-7. They are wasting one of the best quarterback seasons that we've seen ever, and it's crazy because the Bengals, Joe Burrow's having his best season, Jamar Chase is having his best season, Trey Hendrickson's having his best
T.
season,
Higgins, when he plays, is playing his best brand of football.
and they're 4-7.
It's crazy. This
Defense
defense
is
is
terrible.
catastrophically ass. They figured it out in the second half against the
This year,
Chargers.
this year's Bengals defense or last year's Eagles defense?
Oh, I would rather this year's Bengals.
Probably this year's Bengals.
The Eagles won 11
They
games.
both sucked.
Your defense was ass.
Exactly. The Eagles won 11 games.
This made me think of
Jalen
a
Hurts.
question.
Makes you
And
think.
shout out to Jacob
You slept.
K on Twitter. That's where I got the stats from.
I'm just waiting
This
this
made me
up.
this made me think of a question. Because there have been moments where kicker has stabbed the Bengals in the back. Evan McPherson has been pretty terrible.
Now this.
He was a legend.
Evan McPherson's been who won the worst kicker in
right
football.
now he's
Brother,
not good. He's
I
not
am
good.
not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
But whenever McPherson was Cincinnati, Jesus Christ.
Hey, he has some clutch kicks.
I mean, Jamar
man.
Chase said it perfectly. That's why he gets paid the big bucks. He just got an extension, and
was
he's
tight.
missing kicks.
That's like Jason Myers. That's what it reminds me of exactly. When you guys, he was on your guys' squad. He gets an
Jason
insane
Myers.
contract from Seattle. Stinks now.
Yeah, Greg Leg
But
was
this
happening.
this made me think of this question because back then in the NFL, quarterbacks used to be kickers too. George Blanda
Facts.
is one of the most famous ones. So it made me think of this question: if in today's NFL, if quarterbacks were also kickers, who would be the best kicker in the league?
the best kicker.
Lamar Jackson.
Jalen Hurts.
I think Josh Allen would be the best kicker.
Jalen Hurts bench press is like 600 pounds.
Cooking.
He does have massive
Yeah,
legs.
his legs are fucking huge.
Let me also say this. Had some time to reflect on it. You absolutely cooked with Kyler Murray being a better athlete when you hit me with the ultimate one-liner. He played 2 sports, got drafted first round in both sports. For that reason, there's a part of me that wants to say Kyler Murray.
What quarterback played soccer in high school or something, man? There's
Figure
one of
that
these
out.
You
dudes.
said quarterback automatically, but I think of like Odell and like he was an amazing kicker too.
I'm just thinking like, just think of how they look. Who looks like they would be a good kicker?
Really?
Lamar.
Lamar, Kyler
Low-key,
Murray.
Lamar would look like he'd be an OG.
Also,
kicker.
kickers are a little shorter in stature too, so like Kyler
Brock
already
Purdy.
fits that mold.
Bryce Young.
Okay, don't hate that. Yo, what's that groupie? The kicker for the Saints?
Saints, yeah.
Yo, he looks like he's in high school.
Yeah, he looks mad young.
Derek Carr.
No.
Brock Purdy.
I don't
That's
think.
what
I think Brock Purdy's leg, maybe like past the
a little
50-yard
short.
line, you don't
Little
trust him
small.
that much.
Low
I think Josh Allen will kick from 60.
key. Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold don't look too bad.
He gives me that vibe that he could kick
I don't
a
know how
50
we're
yard.
judging this. Like,
What about
where
Anthony
we-
Richardson?
Hell
Yeah,
no.
Okay.
Is he
I feel
an
like-
accurate kicker though?
Yes, he's all leg. He's
He's
all
he's
leg,
straight,
no
like,
accuracy.
he kicks it probably really high.
He's
in the
hitting
air,
from
straight.
70, but you don't know where it's gonna go.
That's a funny question. I guess we're just off look. We're just seeing who looks like they can.
My
do it.
answer would be Kyler Murray. That's who I would go
I
with.
think I'll go Jalen Hurts, 600-pound squatter. Yeah, I think I'll go Jalen Hurts.
My pick is Josh Allen.
I'll go Purdy. He looks like a kicker.
What do you mean by that?
He does look like a kicker.
Kicker. He's built like a kicker.
Does Lamar Jackson look like a kicker?
Not really,
Why do you say that?
because he's like 6'2". He's brolic. He's athletic as shit.
Doesn't
know what
have
I
to
mean?
do with anything else.
Looks like he definitely could have played some soccer back in his day.
You think so?
He's really dark. No, you know what they say, man. Listen.
I don't know what they say.
Oh, you're right, but we're just one-on-one
a great
generational
answer
talent.
right
that,
there.
that was a great answer.
Outside of destroying, I haven't seen any black
is a
kicker in the
kicker.
NFL.
You've seen some great.
They had
Well,
King.
some punters.
Well, Detroit
Yeah,
wasn't in the
facts.
NFL, but he tried to get into it.
He's fake tough at it when he does his little YouTube.
Now, that's
video.
Well, I was
important
gonna
question.
say, didn't Justin Reed kick a couple field goals?
Ogunbowale last year.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say
true.
you had Ocho kick a extra point. It's been a couple.
I really don't remember. Like, is this an exclusively like
White
kicker
sport. White
thing?
sport.
You
You know
don't,
what I mean?
you
White,
don't see a lot of black
position.
kickers, man.
I don't think I've seen black
Who's
punters
that?
before.
Who's that elite black punter?
It was
King.
Marquise King,
Marquette,
right?
Yeah,
Marquette
he was,
King.
he
Marquette
was
King.
a different
He was
type
He was
of
dog.
mad
I
with
think
it.
he
And he had
fell off.
swag.
He
And
did have
He
swag.
came to the Broncos. He didn't even make the opening day roster.
Yeah, man.
Damn.
That's
He
so
had aura.
random.
He definitely had aura.
Yeah, for sure. He was swagged out.
Hey, fellas, I got a quarterback blind comparison for you guys.
Why would you rather?
Nice.
Too.
Okay.
Yo, I've also been getting comments, people saying my least favorite segment is the blind rankings. I skip it every time. I'm like,
damn.
man, y'all don't like to have fun?
Maybe we should stop.
Maybe. Maybe it goes on too long sometimes. I don't know. Okay, I have a quarterback blind comparison for you guys.
Okay.
Quarterback 1 and quarterback 2. I'm interested to know your guys' answers and what quarterback you're going to take. Quarterback 1, 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 95.9 passer rating, 66% completion percentage, $60 million annually. I'm also putting contract into this.
damn.
Quarterback 2, 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 67.9% completion percentage, 100 passer rating, $30 million annually.
When is Gino?
Quarterback 1 or
No,
quarterback
lie.
2, who are you going with?
I'll go with the 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Yeah, player B is better. I'm trying to think who's who. $60 million means it's got to be one of the top.
How
dudes
much
in
is
the
this
league.
B making?
30.
Okay.
Baker?
It's either Baker or Gino. Understand that.
Yeah.
No,
Baker's-
Gino's
Gino's at
25.
10 he's at 10 interceptions.
Agree, but Gino's at 25. Baker is making 30, so
Yeah.
it might be Baker.
Who's playing
13 and
60
8,
mil?
60 million. There's only one.
Like Burr's
if I had
playing way
to, if
better.
I had to guess, Tua.
Oh.
Yes.
Is he making
Tua's at
60?
10?
It is, but you know what's great about that, and I hope he reveals and it is Tua and Baker.
Well,
Yeah,
quarterback
it is.
1 or quarterback 2, who are you guys
It's
going
definitely
with?
two.
Quarterback 2 is playing
No,
better.
because I know football.
You have the rebuttal.
No, there's none to rebuttal.
It's not Tua.
You're kidding.
No, so who was your answer?
Wow, amazing.
You actually, none of the quarterbacks you said is the
$30
answer.
million.
I just need you to answer it, quarterback 1, quarterback 2.
I'll go 2. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Quarterback 1 is Brock Purdy, and the projected contract annually wise is going to
What
get.
the fuck?
fucking
That is
guessing?
whack that you
Quarter-
just did
Quarterback
that.
2 is Sam Darnold, who after this year could get $30 million a year.
So we're projecting.
Why did we just go projected salary? You lied
Because
to
Dak
us.
Prescott got $60 million.
But you lied to us. You said making $60 million.
You did.
No, I said $60 million annually.
He did. I was expecting.
Yeah, I thought he was already making it. Yeah, I thought he was already making it.
Yeah, but I like that because if you would have said
Brock Purdy's going to reset the market.
like, Brock Purdy.
No, I get what you're
If Brock Purdy gets paid, he will reset the market. And Sam Darnold, he's going to get like 30 million.
I don't think Brock's resetting the market.
Well, if Dak got 60, why doesn't Purdy get 60?
I don't think Purdy's better than Dak.
Playoff wins,
I don't think Purdy's
success.
60.
I think Purdy get 40.
No, that's the the floor is 50 mil.
What Jared Goff
If Trevor Lawrence got 50 mil,
Jared Goff got 55.
Better than Purdy though.
I don't think in the eyes of the public and like actual in the eyes of the public, Brock Purdy, I don't think is just I don't think people just put Lawrence over Purdy.
I would hope he don't take 50. They got to build this team.
So.
But this is what I'm saying, and this is why I brought up this blind comparison up, because the 49ers they have a question they have to answer this offseason. Are they going to pay Brock Purdy $60 million a year, or do they sign somebody like Sam Darnold, who was on the team last year, pay him half of that, and don't commit as much money long term?
Hey, respectfully to Brock, I am not paying that man $60 million.
I wouldn't pay him.
No
I love
way.
Brock. I'm not paying him $60 million.
This team has shown. I mean, to be fair though, this team has shown to draft well. This team has been able to, get talent in other areas where you can pay a quarterback that type of money. But Brock Purdy, $60 million. Like, I get it. Goff just got 55, like you said, 170 guaranteed. I think you could make the argument that those two have similar limitations. They're never going to be top 5 guys, maybe not even top 10 guys unless they have a really efficient season.
I'm stingy. I don't even feel comfortable giving Jared Goff 55.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, like I think 55, 60, I'm giving it to like maybe 8 dudes in the league. Like even Dak,
It's just what's your other option? It's paying Sam 30.
Yeah, I mean, Sam ain't terrible, but like, damn.
You get what you pay for. Sam Darnold is third
pay
most.
Brock 60. I want a top 5 quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. If I'm giving you $60 million, you better be the cream of the crop, like one of them
I
dudes.
don't think Brock's been bad this year, though.
No, he
not
hasn't.
at all.
Sam Darnold is third in turnover-worthy plays. Brock Purdy has 10. Sam Darnold, I think, has 15 on the season. So you're getting what you pay for. If you pay for Brock, you're getting a much safer quarterback. But you're going to also lose the pieces around him that you have to pay versus Sam Darnold. You can keep some of those players. So I think the 49ers have an interesting question.
Maybe
to
try to
answer.
finesse him to take less.
That's the
He
only
seems
way.
like a team guy.
Does, right? Seems like a
We,
leader.
not me type of dude.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been on a we, not me type dudes because of his rookie contract.
He's getting paid less than $1 million.
Yeah, it's insane.
And that's
Low-key,
why he
those
should take
California
advantage of the
taxes, bro.
payday.
60 mil is really like 25.
If the 49ers don't pay him, it's going to be a team like the Raiders that end up paying him a lot of money anyway. Like
he's
he's going to get
money
paid
eventually.
Yeah.
But if I'm him, I'm staying in San Francisco. I don't want to go to the Raiders or some team that's going to pay me a boatload of money because I don't want to lose Kyle Shanahan. I don't want to lose these weapons, this
He
organization.
seems like a dude that'll take 35, 40 and call it a day.
But there's a lot of takes right now about just 49ers fans wanting Kyle Shanahan to get fired.
It's insane.
You fire
I
Shanahan.
think it's the most
crazy.
ridiculous thing ever. I'm not going to lie.
The
I
last
think
thing
it
you
is.
need to do is fire
That's
Shanahan.
just a spoiled fan base right now, man.
Kyle Shanahan's made a Super Bowl with 2 different
It's
quarterbacks.
reactionary. That's what it is.
It's spoiled, bro. Like they're spoiled because they've had so much success, but they feel like they're missing something because they haven't won the Super Bowl. And I get it.
They don't
You
know what
haven't
the
won
mud
the big
is.
game.
They don't know what the mud is.
Yeah, but also it's like, Kyle Shanahan, we always talk about the blown leads, but the first Super Bowl when he had Jimmy Garoppolo, I vividly remember Emmanuel Sanders being wide open for a touchdown and Jimmy G overthrowing him. And that was, you could argue, the game.
Absolutely.
It wasn't Kyle Shanahan that gave up the third and forever to Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. It wasn't him. So yeah, Kyle Shanahan has his mishaps, but he's a top 3 coach in the NFL. He's one of the very best, and he's a cream of the crop. And I guarantee you, every fan base around the NFL is hoping the Niners fire Shanahan, so their team could go after him and get him. They're hoping, they're begging for that.
Once
my
Kyle
Broncos,
if
we're
Kyle
good.
gets fired, we fire Nick the same hour.
Absolutely.
And we call him.
Yeah, you would fire your coach to hire Kyle Shanahan for 95%.
Him, Sean McVay. I would do it for Matt LaFleur.
Tomlin
Tomlin.
he back?
Yeah.
never left.
No, you don't do it for Tomlin.
Nah, Tomlin's a dude. But he probably never leaves Pittsburgh. So,
Broncos traded a first for our coach.
He did.
I'd do it
Good
for the
decision.
Hardballs, too.
Can you imagine trading a first for a coach?
Yeah, first
It
and
was a
second,
good
right?
decision.
That's oral.
Was it a first and a second?
Okay, I think it might have been.
Damn, we give him back. Worth it.
Last segment for the NFL portion of the show. It's 2 hours in, but we had a lot to talk about. It is what it is. I want to give praise to Lad McConkey and the Chargers.
He's been awesome.
The Chargers got a lot of backlash when they selected Joe Alt instead of selecting Malik Neighbors. But what they didn't take into account is that there was a lot of great wide receivers in this draft, and in the second round, they drafted Lad McConkey. Drafting Joe Alt and Lad McConkey, I don't think it's a hot take to say that I would rather Joe Alt and Lad over Malik Neighbors, just because you get a generational right tackle, and honestly, a wide receiver right now that is on star trajectory. Ladd McConkey, if you look at reception perception, Matt Harmon does a lot of great work for wide receivers. He has the best success rate against man coverage amongst all rookie wide receivers, and he has a 80% success rate against zone coverage, which is really good. You look at fantasy points data, 4th highest separation score against man coverage amongst all NFL wide receivers, 3rd in win rate. Ladd McConkey, 2.44 yards per route run, ranks 15th amongst all wide receivers. This is somebody that I know that when we look at white, small slot wide receivers, we always compare them to dudes like Hunter Renfrow, but Ladd McConkey had a 9.34 RAS score. He is an elite level athlete, 19th in receiving yards this year, and he is somebody that defenses have to game plan every single week for. And I think that Ladd McConkey is on superstar trajectory. I think he's going to be one of the better wide receivers in the league pretty soon in the next couple of years. So I wanted to do a Would You Rather on him because there are a lot of wide receivers that you can argue that maybe are looked in a similar light right now. This is Would You Rather Ladd McConkey edition. First name up, Khalil Shakir.
Ladd.
Ladd.
I'll take Ladd as well.
Respect Shakir, though. With Ladd.
I'm going Ladd McConkey. Zay Flowers.
I love Zay Flowers. I'll go Zay.
That's close.
Zay's been playing some really good ball this year.
That's close. I would take Zay. That's close.
I'm going to take... Oof. Give me Ladd.
I gave wide receivers similar profiles. These are guys that look similar. I'm going with Ladd McConkey too. I agree with you. I think Zay Flowers and him are very similar though. But I think they're just so damn similar. Honestly, you could go either way. Like they're both great
Ladd's
route runners.
faster than he is. He's
Wow.
faster than
He's
Zay.
fast.
No, Ladd is different. What are
Ladd
you
ran a
going with?
4.39.
I'll take Zay Flowers still. I really love Zay Flowers.
4.33. I'm pretty sure that's what Ladd ran his 40, and Zay's was like a 4.4ish. Ladd is really fast.
Yeah, Ladd is different. Josh Downs.
I love Josh Downs too.
All these dudes are super close.
Give me Josh Downs.
I like Zay more than I like Josh.
I think I would take Ladd.
I'm going to take Ladd.
I'm going with Ladd McConkey. Jayden Reed.
Jayden Reed.
I'm going with Ladd McConkey.
I feel like Downs is better than Reed.
That's close.
No. Jayden Reed still is, because they were showing me fantasy points
I'll go
over
Jayden
expected.
Reed,
Third in the league is Jayden Reed.
He makes big plays. I think I would take Ladd.
Jayden Reed is awesome. I just don't think he is the same route runner as Ladd. I think that's where Ladd separates himself.
Jayden Reed's really good.
No, he is.
He's really fucking good.
JSN.
I'm going to go JSN.
I'm going JSN too.
JSN.
That's close.
I like JSN.
Jason's been these last couple of weeks really been kicking it up. Especially DK's back too, and he's still performing.
Come on, it's our boy.
Ladd.
You switched up, man.
Last name up, Tank Dell.
Ladd.
I would take Ladd.
You gave a similar.
Tank, though.
You gave a similar stat since week 6. 6th in separation, 1st in route win rate. I think Tank is really great. I still think he's great. He does have a
size still
hands drop.
scares
He
me.
does have a bit of a drop issue. That's one thing I've noticed this season. I'll go Ladd because I think I do like Zay more than I like Tank. So that's kind of where my precursor was at.
Ladd could win down the field too, man. Tank can as well. But like I feel like Ladd, like you mentioned, Hunter Renfrow, people like that, like Ladd can win down the field consistently. I feel like that's something that just gets overlooked in his game.
I'm going with Ladd McConkey. And if you look at reception perception and his route chart, everything is green outside of slants. It's the only red. It's funny enough because that's like something you would think is the easiest.
Good
right?
route runners run clean slants.
Yeah, but everything he runs is green. Pulls,
is.
corners, outs, digs. What he's really successful at is dig routes and out routes. That's his bread and butter.
What is it? Marvin's everything's green except goes, right?
Yeah.
Fucking bastards.
But no, Ladd McConkey I think is special, man. And the Chargers, they had, just with those two picks, like a generational draft class with helping Justin Herbert on offense. Like Joe Alt, Ladd McConkey, you keep adding to that. But I think Ladd is a serious number one receiver. I don't think he's like a 2 or 3. I think the Chargers could bank on him. And, you know, this offseason, what if they go out and get somebody like T. Higgins? You have your kind of Mike Will and Keenan Allen replacements, but they're just far younger.
Yeah, get T to either LA or New England. That's where I want to see him.
All right, since we are in the last segment of the show and it's basically a quick hitter, talk about whatever you want. It's been a while since I talked about my brother in Christ, Tua Tagovailoa. Since returning back from injury, of course, we know that it was a pretty nasty concussion, kept him out. And in that game that he got injured, threw 3 INTs. So agendas were still getting given off, even though, of course, it was a bad performance, fair. So I allowed it even though it was an ugly injury. Since returning, the Dolphins are scoring on 60% of their drives. He has a 79% completion percentage. He has an average of 114 passer rating, 960 yards, 7 passing touchdowns, 1 INT, and he has the highest passer rating when under pressure. What has been the best by far that I've loved watching since he's come back is since he's been back, he's unbelievable as a playmaker. Him getting outside the pocket and making plays, he has been near perfect in that regard. If I'm not mistaken, there was a stat that now I'm blanking, and I tried to find it and I couldn't find it while I was sitting here. It was something about playmaking and separation and passer rating after evading pressure. Not just the stat that I just named, but basically getting outside the pocket and extending plays and how many positive plays. Tua was one in that regard. I'll find the stat after we're done talking about it, but he's been amazing. This Dolphins defense had their hiccup against Arizona and had it against Buffalo. It sucks because those were 2 one-possession games that even just one of those, now we're talking about a different landscape in the playoff picture where now you're just 1 win behind the Denver Broncos. Now you're still 2 wins now, and the Broncos have been playing really well, and they have a really easy schedule coming up. However, I want my Broncos to win. I think they will end up being that last spot.
But if the Dolphins get it, you won't be mad.
I'll be mad because I want my Broncos to get into the playoffs more than anything. I want my Broncos to surpass the Chargers. I don't know if that's going to happen. However, this Dolphins team's not going to be an easy out. They're going to be playing some really high-level football rest of the season. And although their schedule looked hard to start, it does not look that difficult where we stand right now. And they're definitely a team I'm looking out for.
My quick hitter, Anthony Richardson. He's back. Not only is he back, but he might be better than ever. 20 for 30, 270 passing yards, 3 total touchdowns. He looks so damn good. And Drew and I were talking on the Fantasy Reaction on Monday. It wasn't just like the Jets defense sucks, because it does. But this was, Anthony Richardson looked confident in the pocket. Anthony Richardson was throwing with anticipation. He was throwing with some touch a little bit here. There's a lot of fastball still, but some touch. But he was leading receivers and hitting them in stride. Super, super good to see. I think the first throw of the game, pressure right in his face, threw the ball to Josh Downs on the right side of the field. He had some beautiful plays. Still had some boneheaded decisions, right? There was the sack fumble was terrible. Yeah. He was starting his throw-in motion when 2 Jets defenders legitimately were sitting where Joel is and Drew. He was starting his throw-in motion with 2 Jets defenders in his face, sack fumble. He had another play that didn't end up being an interception, but he rolled out to the left, threw the ball to the right side of the field, just threw it up to Alec Pierce, I think, or maybe Michael Pittman. No need to throw the ball, thankfully, or for him at least, thankfully, it was an incompletion. So still has those plays where just like, let's re-listen a little bit. But to go from where he was, where he's completing 44% of his passes, he of course gets benched, to this performance where 67% completion percentage, I believe, is the best of his career, 270 passing yards, throwing with confidence. It was great to see A-Rich get back on the right foot.
So real quick, the stat that I was talking about was how efficient are quarterbacks after avoiding a sack. Tua was by far and away number 1. Second place, Patrick Mahomes, of course, because he's maybe the best ever at that.
Before my quick run, I want you guys to go check Paul George's stats and Tyrese Halliburton's stats. I am both excited and hurting at the same time.
Oh, really?
I saw they're losing the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Excited and hurting, so that means
AKA
Tyrese
playing like shit.
No, Tyrese
playing like shit.
And
Paul George also playing like shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought you'd be excited for Paul George playing well and Halliburton.
Oh, no,
playing.
brother. He's playing. No, I'm hating
Jared
it.
McCain the 3rd best player on that team?
Probably. He's probably the 2nd. Did you see Max?
Yo.
Well, we'll talk about this.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jared McCain's been hooping.
Yeah.
However, did you see my text? I know you did.
I actually did it.
Oh,
no, yeah, I did.
No, the black hole.
Oh, he's finally having a good game?
The black hole. Nice.
Did you see our Houston Rockets?
Yeah.
Yes. Easton has 5 steals. Look at Jalen Green.
No. Dog shit?
Not dog shit, but my quick hitter is not necessarily about the NFL, but more about the NFL draft. I saw this report from Deion Sanders talking about how he won't fully, be the one that makes Travis Hunter and Sanders' decision, but he'll be heavily invested in where they go for the draft or where they're going to, who's going to pick them for the draft. And I thought that was exciting and strange at the same time. I remember from my knowledge, the last time that happened was Eli Manning.
Bad news. Paul George has a left knee hyperextension.
Oh, he got hurt. Okay, so I can blame this bad game on the injury. Bad.
It's the same knee that he hyperextended though to start the year.
Prayers for my son, my brother, PG. He's been hurt, so that's why he's been playing like shit. Yeah. So if I remember correctly, Eli Manning did this prior when he was coming out of the draft. Didn't want to go play for the Chargers.
Yeah.
So he
forced
did.
his way out.
I'll be honest, that's one of like the biggest stories of draft history.
Yeah, no, that's elite aura, by the way. For you to do that shit is insane. You have real pull. Sanders family fake has similar pull, maybe not
fake.
the same.
Not fake.
Yeah, it's there, and
pull.
with Colorado sneakily might be able to get into the big college tournament. Shedeur playing amazing. Travis Hunter being elite and dominant on both ends. I'm excited to see more. Where does Dion want his sons? Because Travis is a part of his sons that
That's
he likes
hilarious.
to promote. Yeah, I'm excited to see where he thinks his sons go or where he wants his sons to go. Because we see teams like the Raiders, they have this conspiracy where Shedeur tweets, "Thank you God," every time the Raiders lose on Sundays or Thursdays or whatever. And then you have the Giants. The Jets are probably going to be looking for a quarterback. Tennessee might be another team who's gunning for a quarterback. A couple teams need cornerback too with the Bengals. So just interesting to see how much pull does he have, how much leverage do they have, and where do they actually want to go? Because there's a lot of bad teams right now. But I think the place I would like to see Shedeur go is in New York. I think that fits more towards his mantra. It fits more towards
Which New York?
Honestly, I don't think it matters.
Either.
Yeah, I think I would prefer the Giants,
I can see him being a Giant.
but I can see him doing both.
He goes to the Jets. I still think it's up.
Yeah, I think regardless, like the media will be like it's fit for him. It's brand for him. He already does the showing the bling every time he scores a touchdown.
Broadway Sanders.
Yeah, and ever since that loss to that's fire. Ever since that loss to Nebraska, this team has just been trending upwards. They've been winning constantly. He's been playing at an amazing level. It's really him or Cam Ward for QB1. So just excited to see how that goes.
Do you have the Would You Rather?
I cooked up. I'm ready.
Okay.
All right. Because we're a big reactionary podcast, so we like to have fun on here.
Are we reactionary?
Yeah, just a little bit.
I don't think
we're a little hot
so.
takey and stuff. So
Some may
this is
argue.
a Would You Rather. I hope I say this brother's name right.
Yabusele?
De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron.
It's literally
De'Aaron.
De'Aaron
Fox.
Bang.
Would you rather De'Aaron Fox? First name up, Trae Young.
Trae Young.
Trae Young still.
I'm going De'Aaron Fox.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Second name up, Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell.
D-Mitch.
It's Donovan Mitchell.
Thank God you stayed. Okay, thank God.
Trae Young.
De'Aaron Fox just has 60.
You scared the shit.
So
He's
what?
averaging 26, 6, and 6 in the last 3 seasons.
If
Trae
Trae Young
Young's
did
doing
that,
that,
his
he's doing
averages
like
would go
20.
down.
This is
8
all
and
inspired
10.
by your tweet, by the way.
De'Aaron Fox is shooting almost 80% at the rim.
That's
that's
literally
just-
Trae Young's career.
No,
Trae Young
is a
doesn't
terrible
shoot like
player.
that.
At the rim is
No.
crazy.
You said 26. That's basically
Oh, yeah,
Trae
yeah,
Young
yeah,
every
yeah.
single
Yeah, but
year.
De'Aaron Fox is 6'5" and plays defense.
So?
What do you mean, so? That's just your whole calling card for Derek might be better than Garland.
6'5", plays
Wait till-
defense, but
wait till-
that takes away from Trae Young leading a top 7, top 8 offense every single
De'Aaron
year.
Fox was a part of
Well, wouldn't you prefer the
the
offensive
most
defensive
historic
player?
offense in
yeah,
NBA
but like
history.
he just figured out defense
No, he's-
last year, second half of the year.
He's always had the
Who did?
ability to play
De'Aaron.
defense.
No, he's always been a good defender.
Always?
Yes, he's
I don't
always had a
remember
lot of steals.
always.
His team's just
He's
been
always,
ass.
he's always been a
Steals
good.
doesn't mean-
No, but he's always been a
Harden
lengthy
steals.
defender. He's always been quick. He's always been active on that end.
It's just
De'Aaron
guard
Fox has
defense
always been a good
itself.
defender.
Like, we don't
He's
care about
fast.
it. Crying at that. Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh,
De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox.
Ah, the mighty have fucking fallen. That
No,
brother
no.
sucks.
Literally, this is not close. Like right now, De'Aaron Fox is
No,
clearing.
I agree
Not
with
even-
you.
not even the same tier.
I think between
it's not
Halliburton
close.
and Amon, it's close. Amon probably wins. But I think I don't think
No,
it's
like
close.
the Kings right now should be feeling very happy that they
no, I
traded
agree.
Halliburton.
I agree.
Like that's how
Keegan-
bad he's playing.
He
Keegan
can
really-
figure it out. Please.
Yeah, DeMar's been torching shit.
Also,
though.
De'Aaron Fox has made game-winning plays on defense. That's also
That's a
what I
fact.
want to
That's
say.
a fact. Next name up, Jalen Brunson.
It's Brunson.
It's Brunson. Please.
It's close.
But I will say
Max,
this
yeah.
this development has happened recently. I think
agree.
Jalen Brunson, with this playoff run that he just had, took the mantle because we can't forget that last year Fox led the 3rd seed in the West and in the
2 years
playoffs
ago.
was
2 years ago,
awesome.
yeah. 2
Yeah,
years
2 seasons ago. You know what I'm saying now. Basically last year, not this year's playoffs, the year before in 2023, not 2024.
Yeah, I'd still say Jalen Brunson, but I mean, if we're 40 games into the season, this is what it looks like. It could easily be Fox.
Brunson's still averaging 25, 26.
That's a fact. He is still doing his
Like,
You know, I think,
and
yeah.
him being for his standards, poor.
Catch their best player.
It's not a wrong statement to make, but it's not a negative. Like, you didn't think that coming into the season.
If Cat's your best player, you probably drop a little bit in the pecking order.
I'll be honest.
No
if
offense.
Cat's your best player, you're probably a little upset.
Or Cat has just over exceeded what people's expectation was.
No, yeah, Cat's, 26-12.
Come on.
Cat has been amazing.
Yes and no. Like, Jalen Brunson was in top 12 talks.
No, I agree, but Jalen
All-NBA
Brunson's
first team
But
talks.
like I said, he's been underwhelming, but he's still averaging 25, 26.
I agree.
I will say this, though, with Jalen Brunson is that when his first year in New York with Julius Randle, he averaged 24 points per game. You had to share the ball with Julius Randle. You had that stuff going on. This past season that just happened, Julius Randle went out, and then Brunson took his game to a different level and was like averaging 28, 29 points per game.
Yeah.
So it's kind of telling me that when Jalen Brunson is with another big-time scorer that is healthy, his averages tend to drop, and they're like 24, 25 a game.
26
He's
is
around
still-
there.
still
Yeah,
low
26.
day.
He's
Yep.
still one of the elite scoring guards.
Averaging
But
24 this year.
He's averaging 20. Yeah, well, it's the
24 is
two
still
games
valid.
facts.
Still
yeah,
valid.
so that's what I would say is like Jalen Brunson, he is open to taking a step back, and I think that's what people misinterpreted when I said he's heliocentric. What I said is that if you want the best version of Jalen Brunson, 29, 30 a night, that is the form of offense you kind of have to play.
Right.
That's for most players, though.
Wouldn't you rather this offense that the Knicks are playing where Brunson's averaging 24,
I don't need
24.4,
him-
so we
yeah.
stay down, but 47% from the field, still shooting the 3-ball, 37%. But now we have OG, who's now a nice getting to the basket, can still space the floor, shoot the basketball
You can't
well.
put all the stress on one player.
And Cat has been giving you 26 every night, and we haven't even seen Mikal really catch his stride yet.
But I don't think that Brunson and De'Aaron Fox are in different tiers. I kind of think that they're like similar.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're in the same tier.
I also think that we're having to see De'Aaron go to a whole other level in these last couple of games because DeMar is banged up, because Sabonis has been banged up as well. We know he has these capabilities. At the same time, we don't see it on a night in, night out basis, or at least last season where he was amazing three-point shooting. To start the season, De'Aaron was hot too, kind of cooled off in the second half. We're seeing something similar where he's been amazing to start the season. I think that he is a capable basketball player, but it needs to be sustained for a full season.
Yeah, I think in the last 3 years, De'Aaron Fox has been better 1 year, Jalen Brunson's been better 1 year, and then this is the year that can kind of decide who would be better once this season ends. But it's
De'Aaron
close.
was better, but the postseason for Brunson was elite.
Yeah, because he had
Fox
an
didn't
extra
have a bad
series.
postseason.
He didn't.
Fox averaged like 30.
30, yeah.
He
He
didn't have
did.
a bad postseason. He was pretty good.
And he was clutch player of the year that year. That's why I just give it to him. I think he was
Was
just
it
like
that year? Oh, facts,
Yes,
it was.
it
It
was
was.
that
You're right.
year.
You're right. Next name up, Damian Lillard.
De'Aaron Fox.
right now it's De'Aaron Fox. Yeah,
Jalen Brown.
Jalen Brown,
Jalen Brown, come on.
LaMelo Ball.
De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox. Still De'Aaron Fox. I mean, LaMelo could get into that tier.
Was
I
it
think,
always Fox or just LaMelo was injured? Actually, I don't have.
I
an
think
opinion on that.
De'Aaron Fox has been a better point guard.
but I don't
That-
think there's ever been a time LaMelo's been
Better
better.
point guard?
well, he's a better. I mean, he's a better player at the point guard
Correct.
position.
All right,
yeah.
fine with that.
I mean, that's what it is. I mean,
fine
I see
with
why
that.
said-
You understand?
Better passer is LaMelo.
Yes.
agree.
I'm going to go LaMelo Ball.
I understand that. Stand on it.
I mean, the thing is, like with LaMelo, rookie season, second season, that was when he was healthy, right? Third year, fourth
Kind
year.
of. He played like 40
I was going to
games.
say, he also broke his wrist, if I'm not mistaken. Or
Yeah,
his,
he's
his
never
arm,
really. He's
his
never really
rookie
healthy.
season.
I'll be
Is
honest.
this LaMelo's fourth or fifth year?
This is year 5.
Okay, so year 3 and year 4, he was hurt. And that's when De'Aaron Fox started to take off.
Well, he did make an all-star year 3, if I'm not mistaken.
He made it year 2. LaMelo did.
Was it year 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the past
That
2
was
years he's
actually
been
his
hurt.
first year. He was unhealthy.
Yeah.
Second year, healthy, all star. Third year, no. Fourth year, no. Now he's here.
I
It's his
think
fifth year.
LaMelo's OD, man.
I mean,
and
LaMelo's
he's been getting
been-
to the cup. That was they challenged him to be more aggressive, going downhill. He has been. As a defender, he's been willing. Is he an elite defender? No. Is he a great defender? No. He's been passable this season for sure. The 3-point shooting, Lord have mercy.
I just think the difference between this two is that LaMelo's a better 3-point shooter, but De'Aaron Fox is a better driver, a much better finisher. Like, he is better at finishing at the rim by like maybe 25 percentage
But he's
points.
one of the best finishers
Yes.
at the guard position.
Just in the league in general,
Yeah.
which is absurd.
Hell yeah.
And then for mid-range, he shoots 49% on all mid-ranges. Like, De'Aaron Fox, he's not a 3-level scorer, but he's an elite 2-level scorer who can occasionally get hot from threes, so that's where I feel like he just puts so much pressure on the rim. That's why I would take De'Aaron.
With the way that LaMelo's been playing so far in this season, early, would you argue he is an elite 2-way scorer? 2-level scorer?
What's he finishing at the rim?
That's a good question. I will look. But I say that where he's getting to the line a lot, and his 3-point shooting is much better than
he's driving to the basket a lot.
There's still times where a lot of his drives are very
lackadaisical.
I don't want to say soft. I really want to try to find a better word. Like sometimes he'll go to the left, fade away from the contact, take a bunch of bad floaters.
He can be a crafty finisher.
I can find that on NBA.com.
He's very inconsistent at the rim from what I've watched.
Yeah. Do you guys remember 3 years ago when Lonzo Ball and De'Aaron Fox was a conversation?
I remember when Lonzo was better.
I remember when the conversation was that Lonzo was better because of the role he played on the Bulls, and De'Aaron Fox empty stats Sacramento.
I remember when Lonzo made college must-see TV, man. That was truly.
De'Aaron Fox outplayed Lonzo in college. Though.
LaMelo at the rim this year is
second time or the first time.
I think De'Aaron dropped 40 on him.
No, that was Monk. Oh no, I know what you're talking about. I think that was the tourney game. I think that was the tourney game.
55% of the rim. It's not bad. It's not
He's
good.
6'8".
No, it's 34th percentile.
Yep.
He's 6'8".
But Riv made a good point. 6'8". There's no argument. So I'll just be quiet.
But he does try. He is trying to get there more. It's just sometimes he's shying away from the rim.
Also, we want to talk about the Kings not having good spacing around Fox.
It's because Keegan stinks.
Because they can't make shots. Let me ask you a question. Do they have? Is there a stat for getting to the line?
Yes, it's free throw rate. I think
I don't have it here.
I mean, you have Sabonis and DeMar in the lineup. The spacing
DeMar gets guarded like he could shoot that. I
understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Also, the spacing around LaMelo, it's not amazing.
Shit sucks.
It's not because B Mill, we believe in the ceiling. It hasn't been consistent this year.
No,
being kind.
Charlotte sucks, man.
Be nice. Trey Man's cool.
He is very cool. Next name up. Hey,
Salyuan. I like what I'm watching.
He's long.
Amen to that, brother.
That's all I got.
Let's wrap this up because I have to piss.
Next name up. Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie.
Really?
Kyrie this year's been crazy. I'm not gonna lie. It's close.
So Kyrie over Trae Young.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. Next name up. Derek White.
De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox.
Tried to see where we can go with that. Last name, Tyrese Maxey.
De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox. Now, I wanted to air this out real quick about my comments on Derek White yesterday, because I had some time to think and I wanted to make sure that they're organized now because it was a live reaction. I say that with the idea that you brought up 3 names to me: Garland, you brought up LaMelo, and you brought up Tyrese. 2 of those names, I'm taking Derek White over. The reason why LaMelo's not one of those is because offensively, he's shown that he can average, at least right now, early on, around 27 to maybe 29 points per game. Mm-hmm. And we haven't seen him in a situation to show us whether or not he can be the best player in a playoff series or being in a contender. I look at Tyrese Maxey, and we've seen how he looks as a number 1. Darius Garland, although it was early into his career, they saw we have nice young pieces. Let's go and let's make the power move. Now Donovan Mitchell's our best player. That's why LaMelo Ball's not in that conversation to me, which is another reason why I took De'Aaron Fox. I think De'Aaron Fox, like you mentioned, is a great complimentary, really high level offensive player, gives you good level defense. I don't know if I see that in both Garland and Tyrese Maxey, although we've seen as a 2, Maxey has had some really high highs in the playoffs. And with Garland, we saw a pretty solid series versus the Knicks. The first go round, his first year in the playoffs.
He's bad. He only had like 1 good game.
No, he had the 1 good game, but he wasn't bad. He had a bad game 1, but then he was like okay rest of the series.
Game 1 was whatever. When they played in Cleveland, he was fine. When they went to New York, he was dreadful.
What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of against Orlando. Or Boston. He was terrible against
I think Boston. I am thinking the right thing. There was one game where he was horrible.
It was game 3 in New York.
He was horrible. But I think every other game, he was like basically Darius Garland.
He was whatever.
That's kind of what I want to say on that. And when you have a guy like Derek White, who is not your first best, not your second best player, when you go to the rest of the teams and you look at these players that are not number 1s, may not be number 2s on a championship team, I'm looking at who can fit my roster and be a switchable, serviceable player and perform at a high level on both sides. I just wanted to clear that up because I had some time to sit with that, and I thought that my thoughts were sloppy on the instant reaction.
I love Derek White.
Derek White's incredible.
I mean, LaMelo too. I think the just difference is like you're saying for a fact Maxey, Garland are just like not on the same tier as LaMelo. You don't think they can be number 2 on a championship team?
I think Maxey can.
Because
I just feel like you're letting
LaMelo,
an early sample size of LaMelo.
exactly, because LaMelo's
No,
like
that's what I'm
maybe.
saying. The
It's like
verdict's
we're just
not out
guessing.
on LaMelo. That's kind of
No,
what
it's
I'm
not.
waiting.
And it's
But
also,
I don't think, is the verdict out on these other players though?
I don't know.
I think Garland, the verdict may be out.
Why?
Not that I'm not saying he's bad. If it comes off like I'm saying he's bad, like Derek White's an amazing basketball
Because
player.
Tyrese hasn't been able to sleep on his bed for road games.
I don't understand what that has to do with anything.
Because one of the
I'm saying
players you took,
Maxey.
I know, but one of the players you said that you're taking over is Tyrese Halliburton.
it's time to give it up.
I didn't say Halliburton. I didn't say
You
Halliburton.
didn't say anything about Hallie.
I
No,
didn't
you
say
did. You said Garland, Halliburton, and
No.
LaMelo.
No,
I said Maxey.
Maxey.
Because yesterday we were
Tyrese,
talking about
Tyrese.
Maxey and we were talking about Garland.
Tyrese.
Yeah,
That
Tyrese.
shit is killing me.
Tyrese.
bro.
that's when you know it's been sitting with
But
us.
that's the thing. No, Tyrese Maxey, Tyrese Halliburton. I got confused.
You can add him
Yeah.
too, though. Honestly, Halliburton.
Yeah, I mean,
Honestly, you could, but
'cause, yeah, he's playing the worst
Yeah,
now.
he is. But that's kind of where my head's at. Is where
I see the upside, LaMelo. It's like he could
Yes.
average close to 30. He could
Yes.
average 10 assists. The 3-point shooting, all of that is there.
But,
But, it's
can he
still-
average
still
that
guessing.
if he is in Cleveland? No.
Probably not. He's
He wouldn't
probably
need
not
to.
averaging 30.
He wouldn't need to.
But I agree with that. But he has to, and he's not with a great supporting cast right now. But he's performing at a super high level, and he's putting all the responsibility offensively, at least early on his shoulders. And that's with I'm supposed to have a Batman, a co-Batman, a Robin with me in B Mill, and we've seen him be kind of inconsistent this season.
Yeah, I think
Charlotte's ways away from contending or being a playoff team too.
it's
let me
tough
just
because
say
you know
that.
the first three in theory when they're healthy, it's obviously Tatum, it's Brown, of
course.
and it's Porzingis. You know, but when Porzingis is out, you have White or Drew Holiday that can fill in that role anytime.
Or Al Horford.
Yeah,
like
or
we saw
Al
last night.
Horford for sure. So I think the idea of Derek White that he can do multiple things on a basketball court, it's respectable. Nobody's saying he can't. I think it's just different when you compare him to somebody who they just have different roles and different expectations. I think with Garland and Maxey, they have a little bit more on their plate with a little bit less help. You know, with White, you do have Jaylen Brown. You do have Tatum. You do have Drew Holiday. So you don't have to, for long stretches of the game, sit here and go create for your bigs, create for the other guards. So it's like, but Derek White is kind of like, in a sense, outperforming his role to a degree. So it's okay to kind of.
He definitely is.
Yeah, so it's okay to
A lot,
overrate
in
him.
my
Yeah,
opinion,
so it's
yeah.
like, but I look at it like when you look at these players, and this is my thing with it. Not everybody's going to be the best player in the championship team.
100%.
More than not, you're going to have those guys that are probably the best player in contending teams or not contending teams. So when you compare those type of players, I think that's where Derek White kind of gets the slight. But if you're more valuable to another player on 30 other teams, if you want to say he's more valuable, that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, I don't hate that, but like better player, like there's not many, like I say Brandon Ingram all the time, but there's really not a lot of players better than Brandon Ingram. But when you talk about pluggability, portability,
Exactly.
just being more valuable, 100%.
Yeah, but do you think
That's
the-
exactly what I mean. Because when I look at a team like the Lakers, I'm sorry, Cam.
Do the Cavs get better if Garland is swapped out for Derek White?
Personally, I think so.
I think there's ceiling drops.
I don't know if there's a drastic difference between the two.
Because then
honestly.
now you're making Donovan Mitchell become much more of a playmaker than he already has to be.
but not necessarily. Derek White has those
I
capabilities.
don't think he has.
Garland's a better playmaker.
I don't think
Of
he has
course,
great.
by a good
I
amount
think he's a
margin.
good advantage creator, but I don't think he's Garland at that. I just don't.
But it's also primarily Donovan Mitchell's going to be on ball, especially in late situations.
For sure.
You know, if you
Yeah,
are
you
D.
know-
Mitch,
yeah,
D.
yeah.
Mitch is a really good playmaker
sure.
himself.
But-
if I kick out to Derek White,
For sure,
I
but
trust that he's
the
gonna hit that.
idea of them is you have two ball handlers, two guys that can create that can create and set up an offense. The idea in the ceiling, like Dehls, I think he said it yesterday, was you expect both of them to be able to create, which heightens the ceiling for them. If you have Derek White there, it's no slouch to Derek White. You just know what he's going to give you. You know what he's going to provide. It kind of shortens the ceiling, but I think ups the floor maybe
But
a
I
little
think
bit
that
because he's
with-
more consistent.
with the identity of Cleveland, their identity is we're one of the best defensive teams in the league.
but they're already that with Garland.
Agreed, but now imagine now we have Derek White, and now our perimeter's online.
Would he
I
go
just
from
feel
2
like
to 1?
it's a bit unfair because if the Cavaliers make the playoffs, which I mean, of course they're going to make the playoffs, if they get a matchup and Darius Garland performs poorly, that's who you're looking at. Like, you're looking at him, he's getting all the blame. If the Celtics in the playoffs, if Derek White doesn't play well, nobody gives a fuck.
I'm gonna say this also. That's not necessarily true.
Everybody's talking about Jason Tatum
It's not
and Jaylen
necess-
Brown.
Don't disagree when it comes to Derek White. Agreed
Because
wholeheartedly
I
about
look
that.
at the number.
But when it comes to the Cavs, let's say Evan Mobley, hey, You're not
He's
this
another one of their
DPOY.
stars. Yeah.
You get a series where now Paulo Banchero, although when Evan Mobley guarded him, he played extremely well. But I'm just saying, let's live in this world where now Banchero's busting his ass.
Yeah.
And you're not giving me 18, 20 points a game. You're dropping off as a scorer. Now you're not being as aggressive. And you're getting cooked. Also, let's put Mobley in that conversation.
But remember,
But here's the thing. I have these numbers. Outside of the first, because
But Mobley hasn't done that yet. Mobley's been
Derek
off
White
this.
had an exceptional first round against the Heat.
He was crazy, yeah.
After that first round, I'm looking at the numbers, 36 minutes per game, 14.7 points, 4.5 rebounds, 4.4 assists. He shot 40% from the field and 37.6% from three.
Majority of his shots were threes.
Nobody talked about Derek White dropping off after that first round because the attention's not on him. If he has a bad game, we're not talking about him. We're talking about Jason Tatum missing a shot with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We're talking about
all the
Jaylen
talk
Brown.
was on Tatum's field goal percentage the
We're-
whole time.
Like nobody's talking about the players in Boston that might have struggled. Where if Garland struggles, I mean that's the main guy that's getting.
When they played the Cavs, when the Knicks and the Cavs played, I remember Mobley, Garland, Mitchell, Allen all played like shit. Who was the one that was mainly getting all the shit though? It was Darius Garland. Like after that playoff series, everybody was shitting on. Like Donovan Mitchell didn't play well. Mobley and Allen got destroyed by Mitch and Julius Randle. But the talk was Darius Garland was playing like shit. Like that's just the type of treatment. It's not even no slout at Derek White. Like this brother has exceeded. Like brother, they was putting him in All-Star talks last year. Like he's exceeded.
He got a $40 million contract.
Yeah, he's exceeded. Like he's one of the best role players in the league. Like he's a high-end dude. So I don't even be mad at it. I just think we have to separate the value of a player to the actual skill set.
I just think that speaks to just the responsibility. Like one is held to a higher standard, and when you're held to a higher standard, it's tougher to meet that. Like if Derek White had the standard of being Darius Garland, having to be the second best offensive player on the team, we're talking about Derek White in a different light.
Again, I think Derek White, although he is in a stacked ass roster, he's averaging 19 as right now where we stand.
He's playing extremely well.
Third option.
But if you think if the Celtics and the Cavs go into a series and you swap Derek White and Darius Garland, you would sit there and be saying Cavs have no shot. But
No,
you go into a Cavs and the Celtics series, just all thinking of Porzingis right now because he's not playing. You go into a Cavs and the Celtics series, you've said it out your mouth. Darius Garland needs to play better. He needs to be that guy.
I think if you're saying no Porzingis, you swap Derek White for Darius Garland. I don't think the odds change that drastically.
I think they changed
I think
mightily.
they do.
Why?
I think the Celtics, like, it would be insane.
The thing is now, who are the Cavaliers hunting? Who is Donovan Mitchell trying to bring out on the perimeter to guard him every single time on the court?
You
Every
still
single
have great
time,
defenders
I
around
want.
him, though.
I'm bringing my big man to bring Al Horford up top, and I want Darius Garland to switch on.
What's the difference with, like, realistically, I don't want an exact number, but, like, where does Derek White rank in the NBA? Where does Darius Garland rank in the NBA? I do not see a 30-player gap. I see a 10-player gap, maybe, if that. Like, the gap between these two guys are not that drastic. So the fact they go from having a shot to having no shot, that means it goes from, like, a 7-game series to a 4 or 5-game series.
I agree with this. I agree with that.
Like, I still think the odds are about similar.
I think the drop off is skill set. I don't think it's necessarily.
I also don't want to
gapping
talk about
players.
Darius Garland in the light where he just doesn't play defense because he is a part of elite level defenses. Yes, we know that's because of Mobley and Jared Allen.
NBA level.
I agree.
No, but Darius.
That's you know what I
Of
mean. It's like
course.
their identity.
But Darius Garland's an
And
all-star
also,
level.
But when we're saying
offensive
skill
player.
set, when we're saying skill set, Rev, you're talking about playmaking and scoring. Derek White gives
defense.
you.
Derek White clears on defense.
I know, but Derek White still is one of the better 3-point shooters.
He
He's
is.
a 40%
Catch
3-point
and
shooter.
shoot. I think as a pull-up, Garland is better.
Sure,
I think
but
off the dribble.
he's still. I agree. Like Garland's more explosive
In
but
the
like,
mid-range.
The skill set thing, usually skill set comes down to you getting bucket, your playmaking. I feel like that's a lot of comes to skill set. But defensively, the way he's able to protect the rim, the way he's able to.
Derek White, defensively.
oh my
That's
god.
what I'm saying.
But the reason why I don't think defense is the main difference because Garland's been on an elite defense and he's not a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not a problem on it. Same way how
But
Derek
there's a
White.
drastic difference between the two defenders.
No, as like in individual defenders, Derek White clears. You'll never hear that from me. But Darius Garland is on an elite defense and he's not an issue on the defense at all.
There's so many reasons why the Boston Celtics are the best basketball team in the league, right? But one of the main things that pops out at me is defensively, you have 4 players that can go out on the perimeter. And also, you have 4 players that can drop back and switch and rim protect at some level.
Yep.
Derek White is an amazing rim protector for his position. Drew Holiday, we've known his entire career can guard 1 through 5 for his size. It's incredible. We saw Jaylen Brown. Maybe he's the weakest, I guess you could say, at that. But even
Depends
still,
on what type of player
I just
you are.
feel like
but Jason Tatum showed it last season where he can legitimately be a defensive anchor. And then, of course, the 5, that's where I say 4
That's
players.
the mismatch.
Yes, correct.
I just feel like you're able to. I mean, Derek White is a good defender regardless, but you're able to exert so much more energy on defense when you don't have an offensive load. And it's not saying that Garland, like, if he doesn't have an offensive load like he has, he's going to be like an elite defender. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that when you have Tatum and Brown taking so much of the load off of you offensively, your flaws on offense aren't going to show. There is a reason why Drew Holiday went from the Bucks, where he was dog shit in every fucking playoff series, and he shot terribly because he had to be the number 1 defensive option and still give you good offense. It was a role that he couldn't handle. He goes to Boston. He shoots 67% from the corner.
We never saw that. Did we ever see that happening?
Yeah, but also it's because
him just being one of the best
energy
3-point
now.
he
shooters
didn't
in the
have
league.
to exert as much energy on defense because he had those defenders around him in Boston. And now you look at Drew Holiday, he had a wildly efficient playoff run, but that was because of the team around him. Like, if Derek White is in a situation where he has to have that type of load, I don't know if he's going to be playing at such a uber efficient level. I mean, we saw after the first round, he didn't play at an uber efficient level for the Celtics. He was still good defensively, but when you are asked to do more, when you have the expectations of being an all-star, having to be there for your team every night offensively, that's just a much bigger task to burden.
Do y'all think in a vacuum, Derek White's better than Drew?
No.
It's close.
Drew clears, I think.
Right now,
I think Derek White's a better
Clears?
offensive player than him. Defensively, Drew's a menace.
yeah, he's OD.
He's fucking crazy.
Clears, I can't hear.
I think Drew Holiday's just at the point of his career where he's just there.
Yeah.
Like, he knows he don't got to score 20. He knows he's just a defensive stopper. But
why is he clear?
Because
Now, I'm saying right
I still
now.
feel like he's a better player.
I feel like he's the same player
He's their
he was 2
primary
years
defensive stopper for, like, those guards. They put him on those guys first
Jaylen
before
Brown?
Derek White. Yeah. He's more the wing stopper, and he
I feel like
does have
smaller
those
players Drew will go on.
Yeah, and Drew is the one that's guarding center sometimes. It's not Derek White.
But we know, and I know you know, Derek White will drop down there and he'll
he's a
rim
better help
protect.
side
He
defender.
is. He is amazing.
Yeah,
I
but
think
Drew
that's
is a
his
front
most
line.
underrated trade.
They'll also have Drew just fucking roam as well in defense too. Like, Missoula gives him the freedom. Like, if you see some shit, go and fucking get it. You know, so he has that freedom to do that.
I think that's another thing that the universe has started to do, but now, like, it really needs to be Joe Mazzulla. And we joked a lot about you last season about Joe Mazzulla. He's asserted himself as one of the guys this season,
fucking
dude.
dog.
Yeah, I'm looking at just Drew Holiday. His last
Shit, you
2
were talking about
seasons
win
in
percentage
Boston.
with Nick Sirianni. Go look at Joe Mazzulla's win percentage, man. It's fucking crazy.
Drew Holiday in Milwaukee, his final year, he averaged 19-7. In Boston, these past 2 years, he's averaging 12.5 points.
Yeah.
Do I think he's not? Do I think he's not a 19.5 player no more? No, I just think he's just like, yo, listen, this is y'all show. I'm just here.
But his,
Like Derek White averaging 19.
his
What the
3-point
fuck?
shooting is crazy.
Yeah, it
like
is.
Drew's 3-point shooting is nuts, and it's not all like it's mostly catch and shoot. But every once in a while, he'll have a pull up or coming off the screen or something. He'll knock that shit down.
Wasn't Drew in Milwaukee a fine shooter until the playoffs?
The playoffs,
Yeah.
he dropped to like 30%.
yes, it was always the playoffs.
Well, yeah, because that we re-signed Drew before this playoff run. We're like, hold up, because if he struggles in the playoffs, all of a sudden the contract's
And he
not
just
worth it.
was
and
fresh
then
off
it's
getting
fine.
baked up by
it's
Jimmy
just not.
Butler.
It's not a lot of room. Like, if the Celtics don't win the finals this year, then if the talk ain't gonna be about Derek White underperformed. It's gonna be
I think
about
we've all
other
come
things.
to a understanding though. Like role player, grab Derek White. We've all agreed. If we in a vacuum, you probably take Garland. So
Oh yeah, I agree.
yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with that.
We've been talking about the NBA for I think almost an hour now, nearing an hour. De'Aaron Fox, would you rather, other NBA stuff that we talked about. We wanted to highlight, and that's what we're going to do moving forward on the show, just highlight players of the week in the previous week of the NBA. De'Aaron Fox was the player of the week for the West Conference, averaged 40.5 points per game, 7.3 assists per game. Rev, you could touch the orange button,
This one.
up one. Yes, that's it. That's it.
I thought it was.
It's like a bit of a.
It fucked me.
It does look more orange. Like you see it now. Like I see like the bottom one might be like a lighter orange. I can see what you're saying. It's like a little bit of an amber.
I was about to press this one.
It does look more orange.
If you said orange, I would have clicked that one too.
Yeah, I looked at my.
It looks more orange. So yeah, Fox was the West Conference Player of the Week. We did a Would You Rather on him. And Eastern Conference Player of the Week, Franz Wagner, 30.7 points per game, 7.3 rebounds per game. The Magic were 3-0. And the Magic last 6 games, 6-0, 29, 6 and 6.
He's been hooping.
I mean, listen.
I wish we gave Franz his praise when we spoke about him last time on the Most Improved.
Wasn't it a blindly ranking though?
It was, but
unfortunately,
I feel like he kind of got overlooked in that scenario.
We definitely disrespected because at least I did. I was like, Paulo's out. If he just does this when Paulo's out, okay, but Paulo comes back, all of a sudden just like a month and a half where he goes crazy, but it's not the full season.
And the thing for me is that I don't know if it was Most Improved or he just didn't really ever have that usage to be able to do that. Listen, I think that Franz Wagner and Paulo are not that far off. I do think that Paulo has a higher ceiling. I think the reason why the reason why Paulo is the guy is because Franz is not on the ball, and Franz is not an elite off-ball player. But Franz Wagner, you look at last year Orlando Magic, Franz on and Paulo off. Plus 12.6. You did it with Josh Giddey. I can't do it.
I knew you were going to bring it up. I knew you were.
Paulo on and Franz
Advanced
off,
numbers don't
they
help
were
him.
minus 3.9 on the court. All I'm saying is I feel like Franz in some lineups can be a little bit better. But listen, this is not a problem. It's a good thing for the Magic that they have 2 players that are this talented.
Good statement.
And I wanted to give a Would You Rather on Franz because there are players here that I think are in a similar tier.
Can I say something before you go?
Yeah.
I hope, and I really hope that the same way how people were trying to break the Jays up in Boston, I hope people don't do that with this duo in Orlando. They're nice. They fit well together. Give them time.
Does that mean Franz is going to win Eastern Conference Finals MVP one day?
Shit, he might.
Oh.
So you're about to be a JB kind of guy.
A Franz, but in the inverse.
No, he's going to fuck with Paulo. Now 3 years from now, he's going to be off him.
In the alternate universe.
I just hope they keep the respect because, like, it's year 3 for them. Like, let's wait.
And like their second year being like
that's
having
what I'm saying. Like
maybe the first year.
No, it might be year.
Really.
Who was it year 3 for? I think they might know. No. Who came first?
It's
year 3 for Paulo.
Right.
Year 4 for Franz.
Yes. That's what I got the years.
Cooking. It's literally the same thing.
Yeah, year 3 for both. Give them time to gel. They're just getting their collection together. They're getting their role players in tune. KCP was shooting some bullshit to start the year, so let's give them time.
As a defender though, KCP's been elite.
Come on, give him some time to gel. Don't try to break this shit up, man.
Would you rather Franz Wagner edition? He's on a heater. He's averaged 30 in the last couple of games. First name up, Zion Williamson.
Who the fuck did that?
Crazy.
That was you?
This guy.
That was it. Yeah, it was
What
true.
the fuck?
He
farted?
stood up.
That was a crazy.
Okay.
I would take Zion.
First name up, Zion Williamson.
I would take Zion.
He doesn't play. I'll take Franz. No offense. He doesn't play.
You disgust me.
You do it with Kawhi. Keep the same energy.
I've not done that with Kawhi, actually.
Yes, you do. Yes, you
Who?
do.
Jason Tatum?
No, what the fuck?
Who?
I forgot.
You're thinking of
I
Jay
lied.
Clark. Jay Clark was the one talking
Right.
shit.
He did.
Shout out to Jay, legend.
No, he doesn't play. Zion doesn't play.
It's Zion Williamson.
I mean, if you're saying health included,
It's
and
would you
shit,
rather? I would rather the guy that plays.
You
I'm
disgust
just
me.
myself.
If you're building a franchise
Williamson.
around one guy,
I
Zion.
ain't gambling on that shit.
If I'm
Franz.
building a franchise, Franz.
Not gambling on that shit. Nobody.
Zion just can't stay healthy, man.
It's not. It
losing
has
me
nothing.
bad.
It has nothing to do with his basketball godly talent. I'd say that.
He's a more talented player than Franz.
1000%.
He can't stay on the court. Usually.
He's injured again.
More often than not.
Oh, brother, it's been one season.
2.
2 of him healthy.
Yeah, 2.
Congrats.
3 unhealthy.
A lot unhealthy.
4.
I hate that for him. Truly,
is this
he
3
said
or 4
he said he came into this year.
He
was,
looked good.
Yeah, and then
it's a fucking
Draymond
hamstring
locked him up.
injury
Then he got
again.
hurt and shit.
Okay,
Come
you're
on.
cooking.
next
Still
name up, Scotty Barnes.
I knew Scotty was going to come up.
Scotty
here.
Barnes.
You know
I would
who's
take
gonna.
Scotty.
You know who's gonna come up after
of
later.
course.
Yeah. This one's actually kind of tough. I'll take Scotty though. It's close.
I like more of what I've seen
I
from
hate
Scotty
you.
as the one.
I like Scotty.
I hate you.
What?
Not taking Zion is so fucking gross.
Scotty plays more than Zion.
I understand that.
You seen his eye, bro?
Yeah, it looks
No. It looks
terrible.
crazy.
Yeah.
Have you seen their fits on the sideline?
Elite.
That's Bruce Brown.
He's got-
No.
You seen him do the hat tip?
That was hard.
Crazy.
That was hard.
They're having way too much fun on that
said-
bench, bro. Way too much fun.
That
Next
was
name
tough.
up, Mikal Bridges.
Oh God, give me Franz.
I would take Franz.
This was
I
a
think
conversation
I
in
get
the
more
offseason.
upside.
It was
Yeah.
probably
More
Give me
upside
Franz.
with
more
Franz.
pluggable.
Yes, more
Mikal
pluggable for sure,
Bridges,
Mikal.
But give me Franz.
Give me Franz.
Jalen Johnson.
Who?
I would take Franz. I'm not. I like Jalen, but I think Franz has a higher
No, I
ceiling.
came into there thinking like there's some dudes in the NBA who needs more haters. I feel like Jalen Johnson was one of those players.
Wow, that's nasty.
Just like everyone was just like, "Oh my god, he's gonna be so fucking great."
He struggles at the rim. For
That's
his
you with
size. I don't like
SGA
that.
too this year.
Yeah. Oh, SGA was one of them.
No, we
Jalen
know
Johnson
why
was
he
one of
hates
them.
SGA though. That's a lot.
No, there's
different.
just some players who don't get enough hate, man. They don't get enough hate. With that being said, Franz.
Give me Franz as well.
I'll take Franz.
Brandon Ingram.
Brandon Ingram in a vacuum is a better basketball player.
Brandon's better now, but give me the upside, so I'll go Franz.
I will go Franz. Give me the mystery box
Brandon
of what
might not
Franz
get
can be.
Brandon might not get an extension, bro.
Another player who's on a heater.
1 second. Who's better, DeMar DeRozan or Franz Wagner?
DeMar, but
Okay.
give me Franz.
DeMar might have not gotten to an extension, right?
The Lakers are begging for him.
Oh, DeMar? That's not true.
Yes, they was.
That's not true.
Well,
They're not
DeMar's
begging
better,
for
but I
him.
would take Franz. He's 10 years younger.
You're moving nasty this episode.
This player
He said
has been on a heater.
To start the show, he was like, "I'm gonna talk nasty." Well, I'm doing. It's an issue.
This next player has been on a heater. RJ Barrett.
Oh God,
I'll
give me
still go
Franz.
Franz.
Oh, God is nuts.
RJ just had 40, 39 last night.
His efficiency's still not that great.
Shit
It's like
don't move me
44,
not
33.
one bit. Give me Franz.
Don't move you?
No, RJ's been playing good. He's been playing well.
That's okay.
Give me Franz.
What is it gonna do?
Fucking Toronto.
Yeah,
I mean.
what is it gonna do for me in Toronto?
Last name up, Desmond Bane.
Desmond
I would take Bane. Bane's a fucking dog.
Desmond
And
Bane
he's
also
still
needs
young.
to stay healthy too. That's
Yeah.
something I love.
26. He does have to stay healthy.
I love Desmond Bane. You want to talk about pluggable? Oh my god,
Yeah, give me.
you fell off. He fell off, and I'm done with you. Actually, this episode you
Give me
lost.
Franz, man.
I fucking knew it. I knew it.
Give me
I
Franz.
fucking
Desmond
knew
Bane
it.
is another one. He can't stay on the court.
Oh my. So
He's
then
an
John
elite-
Morant, who we're taking the
Whoa.
league over him. No. Let's stay consistent then.
I
Who-
can't.
How many guys?
With that, I
give me
can't.
Trae Young.
With that, I
Give me
can't.
Give me De'Aaron Fox. He stays on the court. Give me Jaylen Brown.
If you want
give me Jalen Brunson.
If you want to stay consistent with that for him, you will. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna stay consistent with John Morant.
disgust
I'm
me.
gonna just tell you the truth.
Nah, you're
it's
moving nasty.
It's just
And-
not.
oh my
it's not
God.
true. I'm being honest. I could have lied to you.
Yo, that is gross.
With John Morant, I will never stay consistent. I will lie.
I hate you for that.
Keep it 100.
I hate you a lot, actually.
Keep it on it.
He'll be back soon. You saw what he put? He said somebody this
Fact, source
Sooner
me.
than you think, right?
Source ninja me. that's it. He put the ninja mode me. He'll be back soon. I can't wait. I'm ecstatic.
And that's going to do it for episode 428 of the Pick Aside Podcast. You guys can follow us on Twitter at Pick Aside Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick Aside Podcast. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.